Welcome to another episode of By the Numbers, the quintessential counterstrike podcast. I'm your host, Richard Lewis. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, Duncan Doran Shields, sometimes known as the esports historian, other times known as that cunt on Twitter. We've got Sam Davis, the best esports producer ever, pressing the buttons. You still don't get your VOD of the past episode before this episode because Sam's been out celebrating the English getting beat in the Euros.
Oh, I will say, to be fair, wasn't it only about
it was
5
Thursday.
days ago?
It was
It
like
wasn't
4
that long
days,
ago,
yeah.
was it? I know,
It is there, like it's uploaded. Just it was
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it was supposed to go out today, but I've been busy. Do you want to know what I've been busy with? Because I'm researching an article that I may or may not write, but I'm doing the research for it. I've been teaching myself about the history of baseball.
Okay.
Right, and I'll explain why, because we'll talk about it on this show.
Interesting. It sounds like dead boring subject. I've got to say, this is a sport.
No, here's the thing. What I've said for years is, if you can get over the hump of the game itself, which it's just a man hitting a ball with a stick, essentially.
Yeah,
it is the ultimate sport. It's the ultimate sport for statisticians. It's the ultimate sport for fans.
Well, history and stuff, yeah, of course.
It's the ultimate sport for history. Yeah. No, because the statistics that were invented in the 1800s are still the statistics they use now. So think about the history when it comes to discussion. You can't even have a discussion about who was the best 1.6 player as it relates to CSGO and esports. With baseball, because they've used this, foundational statistical element to it. You can compare Ty Cobb to a modern baseball player. You can compare Babe Ruth to a Barry Bonds, and you can make an unequivocal argument about who's the best, right? So I've always loved baseball, even though I can't stand the game and won't watch the game. I'm fascinated by the statistical components to it. But I wanted to learn the complete history because more interesting than that, we are at our baseball crossroads, and that is that there was a team called was it the New York Knickerbockers? And when it obviously become the Knicks, well, they're the guys that modernized baseball by changing the rules. They're the guys who invented 3 strikes, you're out. They're the guys who invented 9-man squads. They were just a group of merchants who they saw baseball was popular, but they were like, I ain't got all day to play a game. I've got to sell cigars. I've got to do this. So they brought in a number of rules about, how to sort of modernize the game and make it fast paced. So that's the bit I've been researching. Right. How you get from old school baseball, I think at one time it was called bat ball, and then how you modernize it and make it more fast paced. Because obviously, as we'll discuss today on the show, Counter-Strike's got a viewership problem not in the sense that viewership's down, although that's true. It's got a viewership problem in the fact that as a TO, I cannot make a schedule that works. Yes. And as we saw at Cologne, you've ended up with, a game that's 3 hours and 10 minutes long, but only 1 hour and 10 minutes of that is fucking gameplay and ridiculous things like this because of all the timeouts, tech issues, overtimes. And so, yeah, we need to fix it for sure. And I saw that Lurpus thread, so that's the sort of vector through which we'll discuss it. So just prepare your incredible historical brain for it because I expect you to shine there. But first, shout out to the sponsors. Obviously, .com, when you're talking about the history of esports. They've been a huge part of enabling me to do what I do and produce content for years. They've sponsored me for a long, long time. Obviously enable me to pay Sam money so he can take 4 days to edit VODs. They're the best. Go to .com/RLS. And obviously as well, if you want to get a VPN, newer sponsor, but VPNs are always good. Go to nordvpn.com/RLS. You can get up to 70% off. It's a great product. And you should definitely take advantage of that. Now, first, let's start with some comedy before we get all technical and historical. Fnatic. Is there a more comical team in CS right now, with the exception of Akuma? Probably not, because Fnatic have been slowly, I wouldn't even say slowly, rapidly actually, hurtling towards oblivion. No longer in the top 30 ranked teams in the world. Actually, I think they are currently ranked 42nd. It's been an absolute disaster. And I can't even remember the last time I saw them do anything relevant.
Basically, Flashpoint 2, from what I remember. That was the last time they were a legit team, wasn't it?
Yep. And currently, they're in what I like to call the phase zone, which is over the past 3 months. They have a 14% win rate, which is shockingly bad. If you saw them play in Pro League, the only team they were able to beat was Evil Geniuses. They lost to Endpoint, so I mean, who knows what's going on there? They've just been playing these.
Maybe some sort of a message from the universe there.
Yeah,
you know.
They've been playing in those Snow Cups. Utter waste of time, of course. They lost to a team in those called the EPG family, which is Forrester and Nickelback from the CIS reject file. Then went into Flashpoint 3, didn't win a single map, lost to Mouse Sports and Complexity, and of course bombed out of IEM Summer, losing to NIP in a match that used to be called El Clasico by fans, but now is completely fucking irrelevant. So they've tried to remedy this problem. They have taken the old solution, the solution Fnatic always go to. Right, JW, you've been playing terribly for fucking 2 years. This Jaquinho lacks a bit of experience. Brolland's development has stalled, and Crims looks absolutely sick of the whole fucking project. What shall we do? Let's bench Golden. So listen, by the way, Golden has been playing pretty bad, and Fnatic look like a tactical shambles, goes without saying. Maybe you should sacrifice the in-game leader at that point.
I can't believe this. This is one of those moments where I start to get, like, obviously in a very minor, tangible sense, we do affect the community, you know, what people think. Sometimes directly behind the scenes, we reach out to people. But in general, right, you know, we are just talking heads on this show. And, you know, you do sometimes think of it as like, what I say is distinct from what happens. But I have to say, this is one of those moments where it just feels too surreal, mate. Like the memes of this show are overtaking reality. Because I saw the thread like a week ago that said, if you check it out, Golden hasn't even been online in 1 month. It's like, so you mean the literal meme of him saying, "Are you alive?" is actually now necessitated. We actually literally need just a proof of life check for this motherfucker. Not even like some sort of meme, like, oh, he's just bad in the game. No, he literally, no one even knows what he's been doing for a month. Like, what is this? What has become a Fnatic at this point in time? What the fuck?
I mean, listen, so there were a number of rumors circulating prior to this move that they were considering picking up that AGO squad, I think it was, or was it X-Corn or something like that? I can't remember.
Polish one?
Yeah.
All right, fucking
now, don't get me wrong, it came from that Twitter account called Polish Leaks. But I will say...
Folks like themselves, don't they? I know.
I will say, I would expect a Twitter account called Polish Leaks that specializes in Polish leaks to maybe get Polish leaks correct. But I mean, again, my unbelievably high standards for esports journalism are well documented at this time. But yeah, that was the rumor going around. And I mean, I think at this juncture, I mean, look, there's all sorts of issues you have. Like, Fnatic as an org for me saying, check the fuck out. Because this, like, how do you not make an assessment about this squad prior to this point? Like, I'm sorry, JW, we're friends, but you're taking the piss. Like, I can't express it anymore.
Oh, it's been bad for a while, let's be real, of course. Yeah.
Mate, right. If we were going to pile on and say Flamey should have been cut 2 fucking years ago in Na'Vi, same applies to JW and Fnatic. It has to. The rules have to apply. Yeah. JW is a player with a big reputation, you know, loads of experience, obviously, like, occupies the AWPing role. So there's no excuses. There's no excuses to allow him to be as bad as he's been for as long if you're an organization. And they really didn't have a long-term plan. I mean, this is true of all the Swedish orgs, right?
True.
Much like other scenes, like the French in the past and the UK scene, which is why we're completely non-relevant in CSGO now. We somehow thought our top players would last forever. There would never be a requirement to develop young players. And so we recycled rosters after rosters after rosters. And then we hit a point where, like, oh my God, all of our top players are washed up and can't win games. Let's quickly try and develop some young talent, throwing them into the meat grinder of having to prop up aging talents. And this is why you end up with, like, just a conveyor belt of forgotten Swedish names. You know, you Disco Doppler, you fucking Freddie B. Like, I don't even know how many more do you want to do. And so they have failed to develop talent, and Fnatic should have been ahead of that. I mean, Fnatic is an experienced esports organization. There's no excuse to not realize that talent like Crims, Olaf, Flusher, JW, it's not going to last forever. And thus, you must have a long-term plan. Now, I think Golden, just in terms of legacy, and you might think he's completely done with esports right now because, again, in the current landscape, who wants to take on an expensive, idiosyncratic, EU-based IGL who's had repeated health problems and had to take time off organizations because of it. He's got no market value as I see it right now. And of course, because Fnatic were allowed to get to being this appreciably bad, even though Golden's only probably a minuscule part of the problem, he's going to take all of that heat and all of that flack when he leaves. So no one's picking up Golden again. I mean, I think we'd probably get a retirement announcement, probably by fucking smoke signal or whatever. I don't even know, since he seems incapable of letting his team know what's going on with him. But, I mean, that also suggests to me, we always know it's been a fractious relationship. It was a fractious relationship in the past when they moved him to entry fragger against his will and dropped him as an IGL, then kicked him out the team, then reluctantly brought him back. And basically that seems to me to be a relationship that just continually breaks down over time. It's, you know, I would suggest it's because guys like Crims, guys like JW, they obviously have their own ideas. They know they're essentially untouchable within the Fnatic organization. And you cannot manage a star player with a star player mentality when they know they are absolutely undroppable. So it's the nightmare scenario for an IGL. Ask Carrigan about that. So for me, I mean, sure, drop Golden. It doesn't fix any of the problems here. Who are you going to bring in? You're going to have to bring in another Swede. I mean, what, Dennis coming back, is he? You know, who's the IGL option from Sweden for this team now? Any ideas or suggestions?
No, especially when you consider NIP themselves have been fucking around trying to have the ZTR guy be the IGL. So it implies that there's no one in the scene. I mean, the joke is the only name even left is some fucker like Prodax that doesn't even play the game anymore.
Yeah, Prodax or exists, right?
Yeah, there's just no one. Yeah, I mean, what's stupid is that the position we're in, it's like that fucking meme of Loki from the, like, whatever it was, the first Avengers, where he's like, you must be really desperate if you come to me. That's going to be exist in like a month, isn't it? Like, these teams are going to fucking come eventually. Someone's going to fucking ask this guy. Because the thing that's mad to me is, I actually genuinely think in most games, Fnatic in the last few years has really gone off the boil. But the sad thing is, their main strength was actually talent acquisition. They always were the team that made the right choices. I'll even say, even though they sort of went about it in a circuitous manner, even the way they actually got Golden in the end, yeah, they did sort of tell him to fuck off for a year, but they got him back at least. Golden was a brilliant pickup. Brawlhalla was obviously an amazing pickup. I mean, there's the guy that I'm really sad for in this team. He's way better than his fucking team. But sadly, what was it? Only something like last year he signed like a mega long contract or something. Like, give me a break. It might even be beginning of this year. So the problem is, I still think if you look at the lineup on paper, there are obviously pieces. You could build a team with this, but the problem is you can't build a team when there are no pieces to add. Like, I don't even, mate, it's not even like you'd want some of the NIP players. Like, I don't know where the fuck you go with this team. You probably have to do what they said about the Polish team. You probably have to go far afield, which shows how Sweden counterstrike has fucked itself completely. Between your biggest team having a signed device, a fucking Dane. Can you even imagine going back in time, Richard, like 15 years and going, and one day, if you do really well, you'll be able to buy a Danish player to play for you. They'd be like, what are you talking about? We're Sweden, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, this is Sweden.
Do that, I know.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, I'll also just add, look, I mean, you're talking about the potential to build a team. I think Crims and is obviously still a very, very good and very solid player, but he might be entering the start of the Olaf sort of style transition where he's not going to carry a game for you. He's simply going to be Mr. Reliable and Mr. Dependable, and we all know what comes after that when you can no longer be Mr. Dependable. So he has to be entering that phase of his career. Brolin obviously is the star player of Fnatic right now, and fuck his life. I mean, you know, the only thing I mean, again, in an ideal world, maybe FaZe could airlift him out and use him as a long-term replacement for Carrigan. I mean, sorry, for Olaf Meister. I know Carrigan would like to develop some young talent. It might not be a like-for-like swap, but it would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I just don't see how Fnatic can rebuild. I mean, it seems to me there's not the talent inherent in Sweden. Their identity is Swedish. They've gone all in on that. If they are legitimately discussing picking up tier 2 Polish teams, I mean, and the fucked up thing is, by the way, if they did pick up that team, it's an improvement.
Oh, I mean, I've no doubt it's probably higher ranked.
Yeah,
if I had to guess,
yeah. That's how absolutely fucking insane it is, and it's just strange to see this like level of inactivity from a top tier org. You know, I want Fnatic to be out there proactive. I want them talking to the fans and saying, "Look, we bench Golden. Here's why. We've got a plan to rebuild. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to do that." There's just zero communication, and therefore, if you're a fan, you imply zero communication means zero consideration. You know, and so. I think it's a tough time to be a Fnatic CS fan. A lot of those fans will be legacy fans, by the way, who go way back. If you're just getting into CS today, you definitely do not choose Fnatic as
Not
the
even
team.
of the Swedish teams, mate.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course, yeah. Goes without
So
saying.
they've lost so much ground since 2015, and it's happened appreciably and slowly. You do have to say this is a management failing, and that's what's kind of weird to me, because obviously we both know Khan. We know he loves this game, loves this scene, loves the org, loves everything, and, related to esports. Has been such a big proponent of, talent development and helping Fnatic be economical, because we all know they had financial problems, but also being competitive with the squads they've had across top tier esports titles. They're not some dog shit org propped up by a PUBG team.
Oh no,
They're in
all the legit games. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I just don't understand how. I mean, like, I know you know those guys over there pretty well. Do you have any insight as to why it's kind of faded and got to this point? Is there like a chance that they're one of the orgs that are going to pull the plug and go to Valorant?
I don't know if they would go as far as that, because I do feel as though they actually are one of the orgs that on some level understand what you were just saying, that you need to stay around in the prestige games and you can't sort of just like pretend to be legit by having like, the best Rainbow Six or fucking Rocket League team go, no, we're still a top org. Like, if you ever try to do one of those fucking Twitter arguments that everyone does with Hastro every year of whether whose org is the best, you're going to lose to him, mate, if he can say he's won all these real tournaments and you're going, but look at my Rocket League team. Like, no one really cares. I'm sorry, they just don't. So, like, my problem is, if I had to guess from the outside and a little bit of inside info, it's because, as you say, if anything, Khan killed his fucking job for the first, 10 years or something as CGO guy. He was doing an amazing job. Think about how many different squads. And then in other games, like I say, in League of Legends, they've always been able to attract talent or get the new talent or make the right moves. So generally, in the original concept, like the primordial version of what a GM is, he killed it. He did an amazing job. I wonder, though, if in the modern day, and this is an experience I had from working with Flashpoint, in my opinion, in the modern day, a general manager has to be specific to each game if it's a major game like Counter-Strike or League of Legends, and they have to be immersed in that game. They can't just be like, well, I used to be in CS. Like, if Khan's going to be the GM of Fnatic CSGO, he has to be like on the ground. He has to like literally know these players. He has to be scouting them. He has to be talking to people in the industry. And that's where I actually don't know how deep Fnatic is in the scene. Because one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about the last year of their team is, who actually does make the decisions of Fnatic? Like, it can't be the players totally, but it must be on some level still, because is it like the coach guy, the Samuelson guy? Was it him? I don't know about that. Again, Khan doesn't seem like he's super heavy-handed. So I feel like that might be where they're missing something, because even though a lot of other people are really just using coaches, the difference is if you are Nip and Threat tells you they're going to play, you can trust that. You can take it to the bank. Even like Blade and Na'Vi, like these are people who are like established people who essentially you can somewhat trust what they say about who to bring in. So I do wonder about that, because I don't get the vibe that like Khan even pretends to be like super knowledgeable about all the Swedish players or who's good or whatever. So I know they were a team classically that it used to be players who ran everything, but that can't be the case anymore. And quite frankly, if it is, that would explain a lot about the problems. I was even thinking, by the way, when you were talking about JW, another thing that's a massive problem he's always had in his game is, even in the classic Fnatic, he had that period where, they like banned him from everything except shotguns, whatever the fuck, Like, he has never been able to actually adapt his game. His game's brilliant when it works, because it's such a unique playing style. But mate, where's the like plan B? Like, where's the version of like, I can just chill? Like, he doesn't really have that in his locker. So I've always felt like, unfortunately, he is like a feast or famine player. And then if you look at the org, just become that as an org. If the players play well, they can be really good. But as you say, I put it this way, I don't even think it's bad decision making now. I think there's just no plan. The plan was just hope they remain good or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of orgs that, like, at the moment, sort of have just taken their foot off the pedal and they are cruising on almost like past glory, and they don't seem to be actively interested in developing and getting better. It's why when you look at the top 10, if you were to sort of rewind 12 months, you are going to see a lot of new names up there.
Sure.
But I think what's staggering is the number of names that were in the top 10 from that period that are now not even in the top 20. Yes. You had an EG drop off, you had a Fnatic drop off, there's probably some others. I mean, who knows what Team Liquid are really doing? FaZe went AWOL, and based on what we've seen at Cologne, what an outrageous thing. Like, it is actually. I've seen a lot of FaZe fans going, yeah, FaZe LAN, we're back. It's like, you do know that in the online era, they were still obligated to try and win.
course, yeah.
You do realize that they're still getting paid a salary and all those tournaments
as well.
to turn around sort of after 6 months of just losing everything and going, wasn't LAN, was it? So it doesn't count. And then actually turn up and try at an event and be winning at an event is actually fucking outrageous.
Bad luck. It's the opposite of what the fan thinks. It's actually a bad luck. I agree.
Yeah, totally. But anyway, so I don't know. I think Fnatic are going to have to completely like cut this roster, honestly. It's nice to imagine you could build around Brolan, but there just aren't enough Swedish pieces to do that. If you keep this team and just replace the IGL, you're going to have the same old problems. There is zero chance of Fnatic challenging anyone in the top 20, whether we go back to fucking LAN or not. You know, they're not going to have a FaZe-like resurgence. The difference was when FaZe fell off and had a 10% win rate in the online era, we look at that roster and go, why is that happening? It's fucking amazing, right? And now we can clearly deduce it's because they didn't give a fucking shit, right? Because it was online. Yeah. Fnatic, we look at that roster and go, yeah, that's pretty washed, isn't it?
I even got the sense, again, without speaking out of school, I will just say my vibe from talking to some of the Fnatic players privately was like, they aren't checked out, mate. They've been trying. They've been racking their brains, trying everything. They've been really fucking like practicing hard and, you know, playing.
That's when you know
in this case. But yeah, but it sounds like they're just out of luck. There's nothing left, mate.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing in the tank, mate. And if there's nothing in the tank, you know, you remember that, you know, Fallen with that Brazilian lineup used to say that MIBR swore blind they were trying as hard as they could. It's like, well, listen, there's only two alternatives. Either you're not trying as hard as you should be, and we can find another gear, or this is you going balls out and as good as it's going to get, in which case, sorry, your contract's terminated. Yeah, you can't have it both ways, like, you know. So they need to be very careful about what narrative they want to spin. Because if I'm Fnatic and hearing this is as good as it gets and we're 41st in the world, I'm like, all right then, yeah, we'll make a nice video for you. We're gonna give you a wicked send off, but yeah, your contracts are terminated because this is shit. So who knows? But yeah, I think Fnatic in CS, I think it's going to be a long time before we see anything from them again. And
by the way, one last thing I should probably throw in. Listen, it's going to sound like a bummer, but I like the fact that this show we try to also predict things that might happen in the future. Here's another thing people are really not thinking about, Richard. It's why that message you said on the last episode about how ESL sort of like over stressing that this is real LAN. We're back to LAN now.
It's the LAN, guys.
We're sort of, but not fully, like you say. Yeah. Like in the most meaningful context, we aren't. Well, here's the other thing people aren't thinking about. You know, after this tournament, we go right back to online tournaments. And here's the dark part. If you look at how things are going in the world, there's a world where they might lock down in the fucking winter and in the latter part of the autumn. So in that world, by the way, you can't be a FaZe clan and go, we only play on LAN, of course. Well, what if it turns out in the next 3 years, like a year and a half or two of it was just online? In that case, what you're saying is you effectively couldn't do your job. Because in my opinion, if you're a CSGO pro right now, listen, obviously you look for the bright spot. You look for the light at the end of the tunnel. You go, finally, we're coming back to LAN. But in the back of your mind, you have to also accept the world might be maybe half your career you have to just play online. Maybe there's a few months every year where you have to play online. In which case, you've got to be good. You can't just can't just take those months off, can you? Especially if you want these. Because that's the thing that was egregious to me, Richard. This actually ties in vaguely to something that happened in League of Legends that was mega egregious. But as usual, League of Legends fans are so stupid they couldn't figure it out. Last year, when I was doing Flashpoint 1 and I was over in LA with Monty and all the guys on the ground, we basically did this episode of a show addressing this mad thing where the pro players in the LCS privately were like, we'd actually like to cancel the split. And I remember saying, but get all your salaries. I was sitting there going like, how am I the only one not realizing this is mental? Because it's the same thing, Richard. Yeah. As far as I know, except funny enough from when Astralis tried it, none of the top orgs actually put anyone's money down during this online era. I mean, in part, you didn't know how long it'd last, but, you know, everyone honoured their contracts as far as I know. So that means those people that you've heard about that aren't in the top 20 or in the top 10 of the world rankings, but they do get 25k a month, they've just been getting that every single month. Now, I get it, online play is totally different, and it might not even include many of the strengths that you require to be an amazing LAN player. But, like, when does your own, like, self-respect as a man kick in to go, so I'm just going to keep taking 25k a month every month from these people to play a game and then not even be good at it? Like, at some point in time, you got to realize how fucked that is, guys. Like, I know it isn't the same. I wish it wasn't the case. But when you're, like, in the current world state, you are in a very privileged position. And I wish more pro players, if they at least can't be good, at least acknowledge that. At least acknowledge that I'm sort of fucking up now, but getting paid a king's ransom.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there've been a number of pros that have taken that step, and I agree. I mean, look, I don't want to get onto the whole fucking, you have a very privileged job. There's people on their knees financially because, that's a slippery slope. I
You
mean,
can obviously
shit,
go
man.
too far the other way.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course.
exactly. And like people saying slippery slopes are fallacies ain't been paying attention to the last 5 years of
I know.
societal development.
I know.
But at the end of the day, like I think it's really tough when you're essentially the bottleneck. Pro players and the salaries they get are essentially the bottleneck now in a lot of esports in terms of how sustainable they actually are. And you end up in a world, I mean, look, there's two reasons Cloud9 aren't here anymore. And the first is that, sure, they had to fucking, build a team and it wasn't good. And conventional wisdom says if you're in America, you go over to Valorant and you'll have more engagement and all of that stuff. And that's proven to be true. You can't argue with it as a business decision. But equally, if you're having to come in and build a team, the amount of money you're throwing at it for not a lot of success and not a lot of sponsors, it's tough. And people were going, "Oh, Henry's overpaying." Henry paid what he had to pay to get boots on the ground, obviously. And so, if you're in a world where someone like Alex or someone like Esatag can be like pushing you towards 40K a month, like guys, like that's the bottleneck. It's not sustainable.
Yes.
So if you're a player who's like on 25K saying can't be asked, it's not even LAN, it's all about LAN. And we've had a year of an online era where you're essentially implying you didn't try. Maybe some sponsors have left in the interim. That's like the optics. If anyone had a brain in esports, which of course they don't, because this industry is shit. But if anyone had a brain, that would be terrible optics at bare minimum, And so, yeah. Unfortunately, the problem we've got is orgs have to pay the players these exorbitant salaries to be competitive. If you're not competitive, you can't get sponsors, you can't get any form of, people engaged in you. So you either don't have a team or you try and discover talent. You go to a TO, tournament organizers now are being told you have to outlay more and more expenses to essentially placate the players, and make sure they even turn up in the first place. Esports orgs are saying we can't even afford travel expenses, so I hope you're paying for that. So the TOs go, all right, yep, we'll eat the cost for that. You are a partnered team after all. And when you start looking at where all the money is going, well, I mean, it sort of all starts with the fact that orgs can't come to events because they're paying so much to players, and players, you don't get a lot of value out of a CS player. You get plenty of value out of a league player. You don't get any value out of a CS player. They barely do any content. They barely have any profile. They never fucking stream. They're not interested in developing any merchandise or doing any of that stuff. And the players who understand the sort of synergy of content and money and sponsorships are a fucking rare breed indeed, which is crazy because I think we've got some of the most balanced personalities in esports. When you look at it's not like putting a camera on a StarCraft player, is it? When you film a CS player, there is a fundamental difference. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Like we've basically let our ecosystem get completely out of shape, completely out of whack. And in the same way, global warming, let's say, just to annoy flat earthers or whatever in the chat, they use that metaphor, don't they? That it's like it's the frog in the pan and the water's getting gradually hotter, so you don't realize it. That's what's been happening with our CS ecosystem. It's increasingly becoming unsustainable, and because we've just existed in it without thinking too much about it, this is what you end up with. We end up with now TO's not making money, orgs losing money, player salaries having to come down, but them not being willing to do it, which actually is a bugbear, because if you would take a $5,000 knock on your monthly salary, maybe some of your colleagues could actually get employment. But no one wants to even go to have a discussion with some of the players who are in free agency because they know what the starting figures are. They know what the ballpark looks like. So, so much for that player union, by the way. Is the CSPPA even active now? I haven't heard them say anything for ever since they did that big shuffle.
It was just last time when they said wasn't it like Stico and all the nice guys are now in charge or whatever? Yeah. They just fucking said nothing,
So yeah, ridiculous. Unfortunately, I'm not laying all the blame on the players, because for years players were underpaid for their efforts and worked into the ground and treated like walking billboards. Now we've gone too much the other way, where players, especially at this time in this current landscape, players are being treated like LeBron James, when none of LeBron James's value. And don't say, well, they don't make LeBron James' salary, because, again, comparatively to the ecosystem, they're absolutely cleaning up right now.
Yeah, they make the equivalent of if LeBron made more than the fucking owner of the Lakers. I mean, relative to how much the costs were. So, yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. So, that's where we're at. So, look, let's use that to segue then, because obviously IEM Cologne has been going on. And, look, I don't always follow Lurpus's tweets. Just for a bit of background, in case people don't know, me and Lurpus historically have been sort of almost like diametrically opposed on our views about journalism. I don't really rate his opinions on journalism, even though at one stage he was employed as a journalist by HLTV. Although I'm sure maybe looking back, we're all older, we're all a little bit wise now. Maybe he'll, realize some of his comments. But he's from that school of, it's not official until the org says, and there's no value in breaking a story a day before the org announces it anyway. He fundamentally believes that. Of course,
no, he does work for an org as well.
yeah. No, but I mean, this is beef. He used to say this when he was at HLTV, and it's like, because I used to go, HLTV don't break any stories, and he go, what's the value in breaking a story? I'm like,
oh, here's the problem with that one, Richard. First of all, I'm pretty sure you probably admit he wasn't like a real journalist. Like, I'm pretty sure probably even might have said that to me. I think he was just a content creator in that sense. But the other thing to say as well is, I even would be able to speculate why he thinks that, Richard, because the most famous proponent of that opinion was Alex Garfield of Evil Geniuses.
Yes.
And he was obviously in Evil Geniuses. And unlike a lot of other people, by the way, there's a couple of people in the industry. Snoopy's one of them. Lurpus is one of them. These people, by the way, were actually smart enough when they were in EG to go, I might have a listen to this Alex Garfield guy. Seems to know a bit about business. And all I'll say is they're both doing semi-well as a result of it. So, I think he was always somewhat tied into the org in that regard, I think. I agree, though. It's obviously a ridiculous statement, isn't it? I know, like, it's not official, so we say so. It's like, well, that'd be grand, wouldn't it? But it's not.
No, but I think as well, though, I mean, look, so certainly when it comes to business and economics, this guy is one of the biggest brains we have in esports. It's literally his job. And, where I'll certainly defer to his wisdom on a particular topic is anything as it pertains to finances. And so
if people remember when they were when it was leaked, I can't remember if you were one of the people who reported it. I can't remember if you was DK. It might have been DK when they had the info on what the breakdown was going to be on the Louvre agreement versus Flashpoint.
Yes. It was me who leaked the Louvre agreement.
Right, there you go. Basically, all I'll say is this: he is the only person I could find who, one, actually seemed to understand how those numbers break down, but more importantly, two, could also explain it to me. There was no human being who had that overlap, Richard. They either understood, but they couldn't explain it, therefore I couldn't verify it, or they could talk about it, but they clearly didn't know what the fuck the breakdown was. Because obviously, when you get into the sort of equations it's super complicated, mate. It's like a percentage of something based on this variable, but then there's this to consider. People don't know how complicated finance is. It's its own entire specialist subject. So I agree.
Oh, totally.
Basically, anytime someone like him talks on that topic, I don't really come with my own opinion. I just go, I'll see how much of this makes sense to me, basically, because it's all super complicated. But I thought this thread was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to find it. Hang on, where is it? Because I've got his viewership one on CS, which is good. I'm just looking for the.
Was it the one about losing money where he was like, the stream loses 50 million?
Here it is. Yeah, I got it now. Sorry, I just had to work my way backward. Wow, he tweets a lot, eh? And it's all about Tesla still. So that just
more relevant than ever, though. Like the fact that people actually believe that Elon Musk shit and that he's like the hero of the world or something. I think he's Tony Stark out of Iron Man, even though essentially it's like if he was that and hadn't even made a suit, it was just all cardboard fucking rolls and stuff. And you're like, oh my god,
even better. He said he's going to make a suit, and he's employed people who are definitely developing the suit. Can I see the suit?
I can't handle this.
You can see a video of the suit.
He should work with Nip, mate, and go to the net. And tell you what, if you think Mars is good, after that we're doing something even bloody better. But I can't tell you until a month from now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What Elon Musk has done in terms, is sort of kind of admirable in a sense. But yeah, it's definitely smoke and mirrors, isn't it? So, but anyway, right. So here's the thread. I've just sent it to you, Sam. So, to help shine some light on the magnitude of the Counter-Strike ecosystem's issues, TO losses in 2019 and 2020 were, per public filings, ESL had lost $80 million, Blast $25 million. Combined team losses in the ecosystem, excluding Valve, is easily losing upwards of 50 million a year. Worth noting that 2020 was the better year financially for ESL. And for those who don't remember, from my own reporting and my own investigations, ESL were in talks with some big Asian companies to maybe sell because they didn't know if they were going to make it through to the next year. And they completely downsized. They made a lot of people redundant. They had to cut back, and if people will remember this, they had to completely shut down some offices and fire a ton of people to survive. So, and that's ESL, industry leaders, right? So anyway, they were able to keep many of their sponsorships and revenue with significantly reduced costs, driven by layoffs and lack of offline events. 2019 was worse than 2020, scary for a return to normal. Why are investors, not VC funds, because obviously there is a difference in how they operate, funding this? Assuming continuous growth, eventually this turns into a lucrative media business. So what's the problem then, you might ask? Active counterstrike player base, and this is all now specific to CSGO, active counterstrike player base has roughly doubled since mid-2019, but viewership numbers have either plateaued or are down. That is potentially catastrophic, especially seeing as CSGO is doing more to promote tournaments in-game. How do you solve this? My proposals are there are two options. You either return viewership to growth by bringing back more ex-viewers players, increasing conversion of players to viewers, or by increasing players, or you start monetizing the product more effectively. How can we improve viewership? We need to make the game more accessible for viewers. That means scheduling games better, i.e. Liquid should not be playing at 4 a.m. Pacific time, reducing length of games, and making it more predictable, improving spectator product. What about monetization? You need to make the viewers pay for the product. That was thought to happen at the platform level, Twitch, YouTube, but unfortunately, fans refuse to watch on other platforms, so media rights deals have actually gone down in recent years. So let's just talk about a little bit. This is another
it's really long, but it's good. As people say.
So let's talk about where we're up to here. Yes. So the principal reason why people sponsor esports events and esports orgs is because esports has become the new hotness, the way to get in front of that demographic. Everyone wants to be in front of the 18 to 25 middle class disposable income bracket. They're the ones that will buy any old shit that you pump out. And so as a result, whatever's cool with that group, that's what people want to sponsor. And so what we've seen in ESL is, increasingly broader offshoots, anything that has an overlap. Cryptocurrency obviously is a big one at the moment, lots of crypto stuff, even weird things like credit financing. A lot of people said when we did it at E-League, people were going, that's a really weird sponsor for an esports event. Not if you understand the demographics. A lot of people are coming out in student debt or applying for their first credit card or wanting to rent their first house and need some money for a deposit because no one's buying anymore. So actually, those types of things, when you look at it from a marketing perspective, it was really good synergy. But the bottom line is people only sponsoring esports events because of the demographic it gets you in front of, and they're doing it without any rhyme or reason. And the problem we've got is, I've talked about the bottleneck being players, the fans. They're another bottleneck. Yeah, and well, simply put, fans don't support the sponsors that support us. And to his later point about pay-per-view, they simply will not do it.
Yes.
And meanwhile, it's the fans that are demanding we want the biggest teams in the biggest tournaments with the biggest prize pool. How do you think this is being paid for in a non-traditional sports model? The reality is, for the longest period of time, we needed to be transitioning towards a pay-per-view model, or at least some sort of subscription-based model.
Exactly.
But where you get benefits, like, for example, maybe you can't see a B stream if you're not a subscriber to ESL's, something along those lines.
Something in the vein of like GSL type stuff from the old days, basically. Yeah, where you get, it's like, you can have a free stream, but it's a shitty one, which, by the way, sad to say, should be the default. Like, you shouldn't have good quality if it's free. Why the fuck? What product would you get for free like that?
Well, tell us about the OGN method, because that's definitely your wheelhouse.
Yeah, well, one thing that's actually amazing is there have been a couple of times in history where pay-per-view was a real thing. So one was GSL in StarCraft 2, but that one was like a little bit fugazi because what people don't know is Blizzard basically like funded a lot of the early money for those tournaments. So it's not as simple as they charged pay-per-view and they got it. But OGN in League of Legends is the one that is really a big deal. I've been trying, this has been one of my white whales as an article for years now. Because the problem is, unless I can get someone legit, like semi on record, it's basically just a column that I'm writing for my own opinion. Because what I've wanted to do was, when Monty worked, if people don't know, Monte Cristo became quite famous primarily due to being the English language color commentator for League of Legends in Korea on the English language stream when Korea was the #1 region by far and had the best teams in the world. And at the time, it wasn't called LCK, which is the name of the league now. It was called OGN Champions. It was a tournament. They did 3 of them a year, and they were basically one-off tournaments, a bit like StarCraft 2, if you've ever seen how GSL runs, etc. But what people wouldn't know is they had a thing where you could watch it for free on Twitch if you were around at that time. But if you wanted, like, I think max quality, like 1080p back then, and I think also the VODs, if you wanted access to these, you had to be a subscriber. But it was just a Twitch subscription. But in exchange,
$5 or whatever.
Yeah, it's $5-6. So it wasn't much, but the value for money was insane. And secondly, this is the killer. This is why I've wanted to do this article, but I've never been able to get the right person on record. Supposedly, no joke, they were making millions in profit from this. Millions. Because they had, like, I'm going to guess like hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands at least, of people who were subs. And it was just for paying for 2 commentators to just be on a camera set. It wasn't like a very expensive setup in that regard.
Well, it used the traditional Korean StarCraft model in the first place, which, the only reason Korea, StarCraft got big in Korea is it was massively cheap television. Everyone was playing it because they were in an economic depression, and they had a crash. And basically, like you said, 2 people, 1 camera, even sometimes a static shot, a fucking shower curtain for a backdrop. Bada bing, there's your fucking TV, and people were literally tuning in and watching it. And as you said, the margins for profit on a product like that, unbelievable. Yeah.
The sad thing is, though, you might wonder, well, we cracked it there, Thorin. Just everyone do that. Yeah, but here's the problem. Riot, the developer of League of Legends, just came along and said, "What have you got? Golden goose there? Kill it! I want fucking chicken tonight for dinner." It's like, you daft cunt. So, unsurprisingly, Riot killed it, and then, cause this is who Riot are, spent the next few years going, "It doesn't matter anyway. We can just do whatever we want with the game." And then Tencent went, "Actually, I own the game now," and they were like, "Oh shit, sorry. Well, whatever you say, so yeah, better make money now." So the dumb thing is, even Riot themselves sort of like look stupid because of that one. So one of the things that's a killer, by the way, is one of his most subtle points in this tweet thread you're reading out will go missed by a lot of fans, but it's a big deal. This is where TOs fuck up big time. One thing we learned at Flashpoint really early, this is why we made the whole like vibe of the show the way we did, is we aren't sports yet, boys. Like, if this was sports, we'd have all the margins nailed, and all we need to do is run a sporting broadcast, have the best teams, and then that'd be it. At the end of the day, we all get paid. At the moment, we're more entertainment than we're actually a sport. Yep. So in line with that, right, one of the reasons Lopez is stressing there, like, why would you have a game that takes place at the wrong time? Because his team, remember, MIBR, is arguably the #1 team for viewership relative to how good they are. Like, obviously, Navi's amazing, but they are all
farmed out to Gowlers, unfortunately.
True, but basically, what that means, Lopez understands where a lot of TOs don't. TOs still act, Richard, like, no, this is just a sport, so we have to treat everyone in the tournament exactly the same. So it's just we flip the coin, and your game is at 8 a.m. and his game's at 4 p.m. But Lopez's point is, if my game that would have all the viewers, they would want to watch at 4 p.m. and they won't even be awake at 8 a.m., this is just bad business for you and for me. Like, my team doesn't get the exposure.
Bad fan experience, bad team experience, bad TO experience. It's just, terrible all round.
But I think he's totally on point there. Like, listen, it's hard. It's a bitter pill for people to swallow, because what I'm essentially saying is certain teams should get preferential treatment in the actual schedule. But I'm sorry, that is actually what should happen at the moment. If you want to make the money back and make it vaguely sustainable, we've got to do some of these things.
By the way, if you think that isn't already happening, you don't want you don't want to know about what goes on in Dota, where teams have paid literal appearance fees to enter tournaments. So, people don't understand already. Big orgs, to go to, say, a tier 2 tournament, they demand an appearance fee. It's happening in League of Legends, famously with TSM, for an Intel Extreme Masters as well. Yeah. So, there's already preferential treatment going on. Let's at least do preferential treatment that benefits all parties, eh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. May as well. So, and then on that regard, just to pick up a point about pay-per-view and streaming rights, there were only 2 options, guys, for this business to be sustainable. And me and Duncan tried explaining it to you fucking 5 years ago. I tried explaining it to you when I was at E-League. Well, because that was kind of an offshoot. That was like a fervent fever dream.
Yes.
The idea, by the way, E-League still wasn't ahead of its time and was still going to blow up, and that was what was going to be that. Oh, the boomers suddenly like esports, and everyone's watching esports all together, and like people going to cable or watch esports. That was never going to happen.
Seems very naive looking back at that. It seems like CGS2 in a way. It's like, well, how were we ever going to get those viewers? I agree.
Yeah. So it was just
hoping. I was just hoping. I didn't really think it was going to happen.
It was a fantastic product,
yes.
And it's still probably the high watermark of terms of esports production as it relates to CS specifically,
sure.
And certainly other games. And immensely proud to have took part in it. But there's a reason you don't see them doing the same kind of scale and grandiose events anymore. Same problem everyone runs into. You simply cannot justify it, especially now at a time when all businesses are opening up the ledgers and going, "You're spending what on what?" Can't do that now, mate, because we've lost 10 sponsors because their business is going under because of fucking COVID protocols and whatnot. So the bottom line is, unfortunately, what we needed to do, we had two options. You either agree to support non-endemic platforms when they come and say, yeah, we want the new hotness. Here's $20 million if we can broadcast the ESL Pro League, right? And you guys go, yeah, I don't really like it. It's not my first choice, but okay, I will watch a tournament on Mixer. And they can justify it and they can build a business on that. And hell, maybe they've overshot and overestimated and they go under, but at least another company might come along and try because clearly they just overvalued the product. It wasn't that there wasn't a market for it because people did come and people did watch it. You didn't want to do that because you think being able to type PogChamp on an Amazon-owned... like literally, this is the reason, by the way, guys. Don't even pretend it's anything sophisticated because you are plebs. Don't even pretend that your reason for not wanting Twitch is anything other than your comfort and you not liking change and you liking being able to type PogChamp. That's it. That's it. That is the sole reason why you will doom businesses to bankruptcy. So you're the problem. I hate to break it to you. But then, because you didn't do that, well, don't worry. Here's the other thing we can do. You can have your PogChamp. Just pay the same price as a Twitch sub. To not even, by the way, like just to get high quality streams, just to get VODs. That's it. We just do the OGN model. You don't want to do that either.
It's fucked, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what people forget is this. It's a bit like one of the reasons why Netflix got so massive is once they had enough content on there, if you actually like the content, it's mad value for money, and it's not even that expensive. You get like it's basically unlimited content. So
how many people, by the way,
every game
raging about the proposal of fucking pay-per-view? Right, in esports, have a Netflix account that they just idly allow a sub every month, and they go, "Oh yeah, fucking, I don't even know if my neighbour's using it or not. I don't even know. My ex-girlfriend's got the login, you know, like, and yet you will not pay $5 to sustain this business." So, I mean, look, that was the option, and you didn't want to do that. And like I say, all the people who've now come round, oh yeah, YouTube's a better platform than Twitch. YouTube could have been ahead of Twitch and legitimately challenging their monopoly. Unfortunately, they can't, because if you look at the numbers now, YouTube live streaming is still a tiny little sliver of the market compared to Twitch, what we do in gaming and esports. It's a tiny little sliver of the pie. And why? Because when ECS wanted to basically be pioneers and have a foundational partnership with YouTube. And, you know, we had active tweets, didn't we, from the likes of Fwiz and people like that. YouTube were showing a vested interest in esports and throwing money at TOs. You all went, but I can't PogChamp. Literally, you have doomed the business because of an emote on Twitch. Like, you are that fucking stupid and short-sighted. And so now I would just say we are going to have to take desperate measures. Someone is going to have to rip the Band-Aid off as it relates to pay-per-view. And let me tell you, we have already been here. We've already been here. I remember I think it was 2013. It was the end of StarCraft. It might have been 2012. It might have been 2010. All of the esports fuckery and the fact we just recycle the same storylines like a bad soap opera, a boring me to fucking tears. Does anyone learn anything? No, just me and Duncan sat here, bags growing under our eyes, like fucking lines burrowing into our foreheads as you decrepify us with your abject fucking stupidity and ineptitude. But we've done this before. When StarCraft was the new hotness and was the big shit, everyone wanted to fucking try and monetize it and profit off it because there was was a fucking tournament every weekend, wasn't it? Because there had to be. If you weren't doing a StarCraft tournament, did you even exist in esports? And so we had MLG, we had DreamHack, and this is before Activision Blizzard were evil, and we had ESL putting tournaments every weekend, tournaments after tournaments, tournaments on top of tournaments. And then it's like, well, holy shit, right? We're splitting the viewer base. How do we monetize this? And MLG came out and said, why don't we do pay-per-view? Right? And you lost your shit. You went, no! Why would I pay for MLG if I could watch a DreamHack or an ESL for free? That was when DreamHack wasn't owned by ESL. They were an independent company. You guys love monopolies. You love monopolies. Again, you're so dumb.
Like
you
a Black Mirror episode, isn't it?
It's like literally in every other aspect of life, people recognize monopolies as being bad and inherently destructive.
Even Amazon is the go-to example of like, it's the evil faceless corporation. But if you just go, nah, it's not Amazon, it's Twitch. Oh, I love what the hell? I love Twitch now.
And you're all there as well, I bet. You've all got a Twitter account where you're like, yeah, smash the system, kill landlords, you know, whatever fucking shit, throwaway glib revolutionary statement you're making. Yet you actively support monopolies in our industry, which have been choking the life out of it for fucking years. And the reason, do you know why people have to push towards monopoly? Because the only way you can monetize is to monopolize.
Yes. Yep.
That's literally the world you've created as fans. So back then, MLG tried to rip the Band-Aid off and said, look, we are going to have to go to pay-per-view. And we trust our products the best and people will pay for it. Wrong. Esports fans don't pay for shit. They're the most entitled, greedy, short-sighted fan base I've ever seen. Like, put it this way. I was around when we went pay-per-view for football. And everyone went, well, it'll kill the game. Yeah. 2-3 years later, everyone's like, fucking hell, did you see the game on Sky that weekend? Yeah, it's fucking amazing. They've even got player cam, fan cam. Now with the money, we can make it amazing. Pioneering Zoom techniques, statistics coming up on screen. You couldn't press your red button. I'm interacting with it. Look, I'm watching Didier Drogba's volley from 10 different angles. This is the shit. You all fucking loved it. And then, obviously, we did try to go too far with this European League. We put the foot down. But you will get some iteration of a Super League in the next 10 years. That's how it's going to go. You know, you can't... Once you invite the American ownership and the Chinese ownership,
come on.
Guess what happens next?
Exactly.
So... you guys, you know, at the end of the day, you've doomed the industry because you wouldn't pay pay-per-view then, we're now having to sell our souls now. So it's your fault. You did it. It was all you the whole time. Right?
Here's some context that makes it even sillier. Think about the current demands of fans. I'm talking even in the world of the lockdown, Richard, in 2021. The same fans will sit there. Because remember, here's the thing. On one level, I get why they don't understand this. They have lived their entire life in a corporate consumer culture where they always were the mark. They always were the one getting tricked. And everything that was said, well, listen, whoever's saying that, even if he says he's losing money, he's actually making money off me and he's tricking me and somehow he benefits. So they do expect that in this scenario. And by the way, let's be real. If people like ESL or Valve could do that, they would. It's just they haven't figured out the method to do it. But as a result, it means that the things you complain about as a consumer look really silly when you're not actually that type of a consumer. Like in this case, by the way, you aren't
people faking a boycott.
You aren't paying anything. Like you aren't consuming anything. You're literally just there for part of the marketing part of it. But this is the part that's crazy. I saw people recently talking mad shit on ESL Pro League and being like, look how that virtual studios aged terribly. Blast is so much better. Blast is everyone live in person. You are aware, right? There wasn't a section in Lurpus's tweet thread, but luckily Blast has solved the whole thing and they're making loads of money. By the way, Blast is in way worse condition than ESL. The difference is they're just making that as they burn off their money, it just produces a pretty.
Why do you think ESL tried to squeeze them out of the calendar? Yes. And why do you think they've now reluctantly had to accept an agreement just for public facing, though, not for real? Because if ESL could crush the Blast tomorrow, they would.
But that's the part I think fans aren't thinking about. If they're thinking, who cares about ESL? Blast themselves, they'll be gone before ESL. Like, the thing is, they are the best, but they're blowing through so much money, guys.
Yeah, because you have to. Imagine what you have to do. Right. So ESL has been an industry leader for 15 years. How do you catch up and overtake a 15-year industry with all their infrastructure? And you have to spend massive amounts of money. You have to be fully confident in your product. You have to have vision. You have to have direction. And when you get there, you better hope you can monetize it. We won't even let them have a Neon deal. We won't even let them have an evil sponsorship in esports, which, by the way, I support the moral stand. I was calling for it as well, but we're really fucking. We pick up the phone.
I know.
Yeah, we're picking up the phone today, Blast, and they're going, "Are there any non-evil sponsors?" So we've got Saudi Arabia, we've got China, we've got zombie Nazis on the moon, and that's it. That's it. They're the only people, because obviously
we are also such cunts in esports that we're doing that on a phone with the fucking Cobalt mined by the children slaves.
Of course,
literally while using other apps and services that are way more evil.
Yeah.
But we do just go, listen, for the sake of my own personal well-being, I'd rather you didn't have money. It's like,
but this is the thing. It's like, listen, I appreciate the moral stand. I think I say fuck these companies. I want, as we're about to get to, I want people to take a stand against China in esports. Chinese dominance in gaming and esports is again, we're approaching critical mass.
It's going to get darker and darker.
It's not going to affect me. I'm off to do something else. You can fucking play in the sandpit that you've slowly been going. If we replace just a little bit of the sand with shit, it won't affect anyone. And now it's all shit, guys. So you can have that. I'm not in that sandpit. Fuck you. I'll find another sandpit to go play in. Right? It's a shit pit now. Right? But anyway, like I'm down to take the stand against China, but there's no money coming from anywhere else. Not unless, of course, by the way, you want some American VC fund who are like, we just see this as a conduit to lecture you about every lifestyle choice you make, and American culture is so cool, it should be kind of ubiquitous, even though we operate on pretty much the same level as some of these countries. We condemn interference with foreign powers, and but don't think too much about Haiti, and it's fucking mental. They're the people who get to lecture the world about moral superiority, is it? We've allowed that. This is what I mean. Like, you all deserve it. You like, I can't tell you how much you deserve what's coming.
It's the way you only thought it was a throwaway comment, but that is one of those things, Rich, this week where I woke up like, it's like, not really, but I wake up, I get the paper out of the desk. Oh, apparently Haiti's just cool again. Oh, we're just pretending that's the case. Well, just memory hole the last few years again, and back to bed we go. The world's just become too bad, hasn't it? It's just too much of a clown show. I can't.
It's like, so what are my choices to make money in esports? Align myself with these tedious fucks over there, right? Who just won't shut the fuck up about stuff and thinking that everyone has to adopt American culture and American ideals and all of their dumb shit, right? When they, you've got your own unique history and your own unique problems. Work through them. Leave me the fuck out of it. Like, we just had the 4th of July. It was so good that Americans shut the fuck up collectively just to wave a flag and set off some fireworks for a day instead of lecturing the rest of the world about what they should be doing. Just shut the fuck up, please. Please, please. Exercise the freedom to shut the fuck up. Turn your country into a utopia, then get back to me about what I should be doing and what I should be thinking and why your shit fucking matters. Until then, shut the fuck up. So that's option 1. Option B, hi, it's China. Yeah, human rights violations, civil rights violations, all the violations. And by the way, if you ever criticize it for us, we just make you persona non grata, and no American corporation will hire you, because despite all their moral posturing and lecturing of their own fucking demographic, they will align themselves with pure evil to make a profit. So that's esports, by the way. No one has the backbone to stand up to that. That's what you've got. That's what you've enabled. 10 years of neglect and refusal to pay for your product because you're wanted control. And the best thing about esports is we control it. The community controls it. We have genuine input. To keep that sustainable, you had to be essential to the business model. You were content to be another number on a spreadsheet to save you $5 fucking a month. And now this is what we've got. You did this. You. And there's people in the chat going, he doesn't mean me. I mean you. I mean all of you. All of you.
Even by the way, I'm not even joking. There's even times when I watch, and because I actually know about productions and how much some of this shit costs. In fact, sad thing is I found out even more from the Flashpoint shit last year. When I watch Blast, I even think myself, this is so fucked up, I'm not paying anything for this. Like, look at this fucking studio. Like, these are real cameramen and shit. Like, there's no way they can be making money for me sitting for free watching it in 1080p going, more like some fucked up.
Roman Emperor, yes. Bring me more entertainment. Bring out the lions. It's fucking insane. So, right, we're gonna get back to Lopez's tweet, shit. I've had my fucking rant. This is why I'm done with the business. But But yeah, honestly, guys, we needed to transition to a pay-per-view model long before now,
Sure.
or we just doomed everything. But whatever. So back to the monetization aspect. After saying we need pay-per-view, he goes, "Wait, what? Twitch? Oh, that's the other aspect I haven't even discussed. I mean, we touched upon it briefly. Right? You love Twitch and you love YouTube. You've created a world where Twitch know they don't have to pay, and they don't. And in fact, after paying all 90 million or whatever it was for the Overwatch League, they'll never throw. Yeah, they'll never throw money. The guy, all the people who made that deal, bye, see ya. You're not at the company anymore.
Yeah.
They'll never pay money like that ever again for an esports product, and they know they don't have to because you like PogChamp and YouTube. They were like, well, we threw all that money, and the community rejected us in 2016. Now people do like our tech, but people will preferentially watch it on YouTube over Twitch, just so they can rewind and have sort of that level of control. And actually, the tech just is generally better over there. YouTube's problem is all discovery, isn't it? Yes. Good luck finding a live stream on YouTube if it's not linked from another website, and they really need to work on that. They don't have they've got one of the most sophisticated algorithms to just ram endless amounts of the same content down your throat.
They're all only good at one thing in each of the fucking platforms. No one's good at the whole thing though. Yeah.
So anyway, so you fostered an environment where there's no point in challenging YouTube and Twitch. YouTube aren't going anywhere, but it's not predicated on live streaming. Twitch dominate live streaming in our space. Everyone who's come along, hi, Mixer here, dead now, of course. It's like there's no reason to spend. No one will look at what Mixer did and never try that again. And you guys didn't support it. So you've created a world where Twitch can just go, yeah, we're not paying for ESL Pro League. All right, go on, then we'll pay a little bit. And ESL.
Also, think about this.
I need to take in
mind, it's not even like the viewership's that crazy in CSGO at the moment anyway. We're not like, sadly, even though the player base is at its max, we're not actually pushing crazy viewership numbers. So here's another factor. In the same way as you always say, Richard, that in the modern day, all esports content competes against all content in the entire world on the internet, because that's like essentially like you have the time and the eyeballs and the click to click on any of those things. In the same way, right? Here's another reason that, because essentially one thing that Richard's saying that fans might not understand is, if anything, Twitch has scaled back the money they used to pay for esports. Like they actually used to pay, no joke, your favorite commentators in Counterstrike a retainer just not to go on other platforms. By the way, that retainer doesn't exist anymore because, again, they also realized, what you're going to do, dickhead, just not come on Twitch. Like that's the end of your career. I don't have to pay you anything. Similarly, by the way, if you think about it, right, why are they going to pay tens of millions for a Counter-Strike league when at the moment they're making fucking mad money eating the lunch literally of like softcore cam girl fucking businesses just for free on like what was the joke spillover channel on their fucking website? Like, mate, they're loving it right now. Like, why would they ever pay anything for esports? Like, they've got us all by the balls. We have to be on their platform. It's the other way around. That's the maddest thing. Like, normally, think about it. If you had an amazing TV show, people have to bid who wants the rights to that. Imagine the other way around if it was like, you can't even have your TV show unless it's on our channel. Like, what? That's the world we now live in.
Yeah, that's exactly what we created. So Lerpus continues. Twitch knows Counter-Strike events need it. Duncan's point is just made because fans won't watch elsewhere, so they refuse to pay meaningful cash for media rights. This is what fans accomplished by flaming Facebook, Mixer, etc. for not being Twitch. Now it's down to direct fan monetization. What do you mean by direct fan monetization? You need to start hosting pay-per-view events at this point, given all the other streaming platforms are largely irrelevant, and there is no existing business model for charging fans any subscriptions, especially after ESL killed ESEA. Why now, though? Viewership hasn't grown in 2 years, but last year it was blamed on COVID and in early 2021 on lack of offline events. There's no excuse to make now. Valorant also poses a threat to compete for the same funding and is already taking investment away from Counter-Strike. Just on that point about viewership hasn't grown, actually, I think that's a little bit of an inaccuracy because I do remember us, like, when the player base was at an all-time high, it shot up, obviously, during everyone being in lockdown. We went past, like, we were the #1 game on Steam. We broke Dota's record, I think, like 1.2 million concurrents or whatever it was. Round about that time, we had a few big events. I think it was Katowice. That broke a record for, like, a non-major event, a viewership record. So there was actually good signs. The problem is, right, the excuses we're making for things that look catastrophic that Tommy's talking about now, and that is that we've just lost 17% of our entire player base in CS. It's a free-to-play game.
Okay.
Yep, it's down 17% from where it was, like, at the end of the end of the year. Now it's like basically we were at over 1 mil, and we're now at, like, go look in the Steam charts. It's like, hang on, I'll get you the exact numbers because I had them to hand it. Why is that the top one? 17%, I think it is the number. There you go. So yeah, CSGO's player count has fallen by nearly 17% since Valve started charging for Prime. So you will notice there that basically Valve are trying to think of ways to monetize CS, and that's hilarious given how little they've put into it, right? And now they want to monetize it. It's like you could have been putting stuff in over the last few years. Like, if we had something like Dota Plus, I think everybody's happy to pay for it. Prime's just essentially a basic service.
Yes.
Like, it's a service that third parties have been offering for years. But whatever. So yeah, the average player count for Counter-Strike Global Offensive dropped 70% in the last month, the highest drop off in players since April 2018, and the highest fall in a single month since the game came out. So that is not a good sign. And understand it's happening. People are going, I saw people making this excuse. Well, it's because obviously COVID lockdown stopped now, and our numbers were artificially high. No, I don't know what to tell you. It's because basically new player experience is garbage. Existing player experience is garbage, and Prime seemingly does nothing. Let me tell you, I prepared for this show. As I said, I was researching baseball. I even played CS, right? I haven't played CS in years. I went on it, right? My former DMG account had hilariously degraded to like Gold Nova 1 or something, right? So you can imagine the type of experience I had. And I went and I was playing exclusively because I haven't played in like 3 or 4 years. And so I'm down there with the fucking, really newbie players. And mate, it's a mess. I'm setting my ping low. I'm playing with people who don't speak English. That's not an issue as long as everyone speaks the same language. Fortunately, not a lot of overlap when it's like a Russian talking to an Iranian, so they can't even communicate. We should have a common tongue. We can't find it. The cheating thing's massively overplayed, but then again, I don't think I was at an MMR bracket to justify it. And even in winning, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun because the elo decay is so brutal. I shouldn't be playing against. Even now with like one eye and one hand, I shouldn't be playing against the Gold Nova 1 with like all my experience in FPS games, And so if I drop 27 kills and I'm like wrecking the other end of the equation is he's fucking having a bad time as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, really sucks for him that he's going up against some experienced boomer down in that MMR bracket. Then on top of that, people just quit all the time. Like, I think out of the 10 games I played to get a check for like the cheating problem and everything else, I think I had 8 leavers. I think I completed a game with 5 players only twice, and still won like, I don't know, half the games or whatever. But you can
see why shit like Faceit is so popular. That's got to be part of it. Like, Max Rating's just intolerable.
It was absolutely horrific. It was so unbelievably bad and unbelievably not fun. And when I remember what the game was and what it used to be, basically Valve, this is what they do. They don't balance games to a point where you can solo queue. They balance games so they're great 5v5 games. Basically, if I played with 4 mates, CS is still the best game ever made for me.
True.
Up there with Dota. But if you do not play with 4 other friends, you're in for a bad time. That's what Valve games are now. Dota's the exact same. CS is the exact same. Solo queue is miserable. It's a miserable experience. And unfortunately, what you have to realize is that for most people, solo queue will be the default experience.
Yeah.
Most of us haven't got time, especially as you get older. Who wants to make friends on the internet just to play video games with? Well, now I've got to get all my real life friends and be, hey, you want to play this fucking video game? Could we do this in this time? A lot of them are gamers anyway. But then maybe you only get 3 of them, so now you've got 2 randos. The worst is what I call scapegoat daughter. That's what we play, where it's like it's a 4 stack with the one guy who solo queued into a 4 stack. Well, that guy is going to get crucified no matter what he does, right? So even if he plays well, what's happening at the end of the game? He's getting 4 reports and he's going down to low prio. See ya. That's how it is. So the solo queue experience is fucking grim in all games, in all Valve games. And that's why people are leaving it in droves. Prime was meant to be a solution. People gave it a chance. They paid for it. They've seen it's appreciably done nothing to improve the state of solo queue. A lot of people have a perception cheating's out of control in the game. I don't know about that. I think I might have seen 1 cheater in 10 games down at that MMR, which might even be above the average. I think John McDonald said it was 1 in 40, which to me, it's probably a little bit higher than that, but not much. It might be 2 in maybe not even that, maybe like 1.2. You know, it's fucking, small potatoes for me. But the bottom line is the solo player experience is terrible. And as Tommy notes, we had the #1 game on Steam, most players. How'd you convert it into viewership? And this is a fundamental problem that all games have had, because remember, League of Legends is the most popular fucking game in the world. LCS viewership's a nightmare right now. It is not just CS that is experiencing this problem. I'll tell you, I worked on a PUBG show. I worked with OGN Studios to create a PUBG product. And at the time we did it, PUBG was the #1 game on Steam, and it had gone down from 3.5 million concurrent players at one point to 2.2. And do you know how many people watched our broadcast? That was costing us probably 100 grand a show.
10K, something stupid.
3,000.
Fucking hell.
3,000. So you have to understand that these companies, these developers, don't even push, even though esports, essentially, the birth of esports is in 2 things happening simultaneously. Communities of fucking losers, essentially, saying, we want to be good at this game, let's build some leagues and ladders and be really nerdy about it. Kind of like, it's almost like D&D for the fucking digital FPS generation. And so then games developers looking at that and going, wow, if those guys are going to play video games for the next 10 years, our game doesn't die. And then with the advent of games as a service and freemium models, people started realizing we can push DLC, not into your offline games and your RPGs, and your expansion packs. We can push them into these online games. They get something out of it. It keeps people playing. We keep monetizing it, and onwards and upwards it goes. Rainbow Six, by the way, even though it's not a huge game, it has a fantastic business model. Ubisoft, of all the companies, have absolutely nailed it. And there are lessons we could learn in CS from Rainbow Six. Reality. So anyway, we didn't capitalize. When everyone was cooped up indoors, that's when Valve should have gone into overdrive. Yes. How do we turn everyone into a massive esports fan? But they don't care about esports. That's the problem. These developers never care about esports as part of its marketing strategy until it's too fucking late. Activision Blizzard learned the lesson too late. Riot, they fucking are like, oh shit, what are we doing now? Thank God Tencent have took over, because they would have been in real problems and making bad decisions back when it was American ownership, because their priority certainly wasn't creating a great esports product. And so here we are in CS. We've just let things go too far. I don't know if you have anything to add to that point.
Not really. I agree in general. Like the problem Lurpus nails is that there are only 2 options, which is either you go pay-per-view, as in the current people who watch pay, in which case we have more of their view obviously directly, or as he says, you have to do an amazing job with having the enormous free viewer base. The problem is the latter is basically what they tried to do for the last 10 plus years in CS, and it's just never worked realistically, because as we've talked about in this episode, that's the other thing people don't get. You can't throughout time compare absolute numbers, because the costs of the industry have scaled. Like, I was even thinking about this myself when I was working this RMR event, Richard. Why is my day rate the same for an online event where I'm sat in my house as if I'll go to the LAN? But it just is. Like, there's another area that didn't change at all, by the way. As far as I know, during the online era, all the people who were talent just kept getting paid the same sort of money. We didn't put our rates down. But there's what doesn't make any sense, boys. Whatever made our rate scale up presumably the game getting bigger and the scene getting bigger, opportunities getting bigger. Like this isn't an industry if we pick the number at random. Like we didn't pick the day rate 'cause it just sounded like a cool round number. We picked it because it made business sense. So as fucked as it sounds, like listen, I wouldn't do this because fuck this industry. No one's pulling together. But realistically, last year, genuinely, if people actually on an individual level cared about the Counter-Strike space, we all collectively, no joke, should have tightened our belts. Players should have had lower salaries. Tournament organisers should probably have put some of the prize money down, or the appearance fees should have gone down from TO. I know it sounds fucked, but everyone collectively for like 6 months probably should have said these are just sort of measures we need to take to keep the industry alive.
It's what I did. It's what
Look
I
how
did
many
for
people we've
the.
lost.
It's what I did for the summit. You know, again, I'll just talk about my amounts because I don't even work anymore. So at my peak, I'm a $2,000 a day esports host, you know, when I'm on TV and all of that, you know, all the exposure you can get. And when I would do other events and friends events, I would give them like mates rates. I would cut that in half for some events, you know, so $1,000 a day. That's still outrageous. That's more than I ever thought I would earn in my lifetime.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, casters probably make fucking 5 times that. There's some casters out there that are making in ridiculous amounts. But anyway, when the Summit RMR came around, I said to Hopin and those guys over there, I said, I just want to be in. So what can you afford? And, you know, I could have negotiated, basically saying, what can you afford is the worst negotiating position to hold up from. But I said it to them, like, I just want to be here. I just want to do this event, you know, so what can you afford? And they came back with a rate and they gave me the limit they could literally afford because they didn't want to insult me. And I said, thanks. But I wasn't going in there, you know, big dick in it, saying, well, you know, I'm Richard Lewis coming out of retirement. I'm going to add eyeballs on your product or whatever. Like, no, I wanted, first of all, I did want to do it. But second of all, I know the Summit is a fucking, you know, I know where they're positioned in the grand scheme of things.
Place, yeah.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, even justifying, let's say, you know, and I don't want to reveal their rate in case it's a negotiating thing, but even justifying, let's say it was $1,000 a day, justifying that to sit in my bedroom, you know, sit in my office rather, is not, I mentally can't do that. I mentally can't do that. Half of those broadcasts I had shorts on. You know, it's nonsense. So I told them, like, what I just want to be involved, and I think everybody got value out of it. I think the fans enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. They were fantastic to work with. The online event they'd done prior to it hadn't been great. We criticized it. This one was super smooth. We had a lot of fun. And yeah, you know, a little bit like you say, you know, there are people out there, even in the online era, coming to you as if it's like, well, I have to fly to the studio and I have to quarantine. I have to do it. You know, none of that's happening if you work in an online event, you know, so.
I mean, what makes it perfect, though, is it's just a microcosm of the problem with the esports industry at large. Individually, each person knows this doesn't quite make sense. And really, I should take the short-term sacrifice for the long-term success of the space. But simultaneously, everyone, including practically, or even up to people like us almost, are just sort of going, but I'm not going to be the one to sacrifice, though, because fuck them. I'm just going to take everything I can. So, as usual, short-sighted and short-term thinking is fucking the long-term future.
Yep. So he said, why does a small reaction in viewership matter? There is no small reduction in an ecosystem that's losing 50 million a year and not showing growth. No sensible investor will continue to fund these losses if they can't see a reasonable path to success. Ergo, a small reduction is significant. And what does significant mean? Take down salaries and prize money by 50% and see how many players stay in CSGO instead of starting to stream or moving to other games. If you lose top players, people lose interest. This puts viewership in a downward spiral and you may not recover. Why aren't we hearing this from the companies in question? Because they're raising Detra is operating tournaments, CSGO being the largest driver of ESL and Blast business, or teams. If their investors heard them voice this concern, it would become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So why doesn't Valve step in? Read about their company culture and you'll understand. CSGO remains incredibly profitable for them, and esports is its most important user acquisition channel after Steam itself. Can anything else be done? And just on that point, by the way, to elaborate what he means there is, when you go on Steam for the first time and create a Steam account, obviously Valve pushes you towards Dota and, to a lesser extent, CSGO. They're free games. Download them, try them. You get these adverts pop up and whatnot. And everyone has to have a Steam account because, again, in the spirit of monopolies are great, yay, they've completely conquered the online marketing space, which, by the way, I'm super thankful to Valve for making Steam. I'm less super thankful to consumers that are making the same mistake of going, but Epic is bad when they give you a free game every fucking week and they're putting out hundreds of millions to indie developers to make cool games on the proviso that when they're finished, maybe you might want to drop them on their platform. There's a ton of fucking bad shit going on over there. But if we don't start challenging Steam on some level, consumers suffer. They've already had a number of consumer cutbacks on Steam. If you look at the market, for example, preventing you from going, region changing to get cheaper games and other stuff like this. They've lost a number of lawsuits about refunds in France and Australia, I think, principally. It's not now. Steam is a convenient platform, but it is not a consumer-friendly platform, and we do need someone to challenge it. You all hate Epic Games Store. You all hate the Epic Store. What are we gonna do? Anyway. Can anything else be done? If you could combine all of CSGO esports into one TO, like a Riot model, you could turn the whole ecosystem profitable through increased market power, restriction of supply, and cost synergies. But that won't happen either. And no, that's the dark fucking part of it. The thing that would save us from oblivion is the thing we've railed against for years. This is essentially like you've had a free and egalitarian society for years, and we're about to be invaded by the big bad. And what we need to do is get a military dictator back in charge and give him universal powers. It's essentially the plot of fucking Star Wars, except the Emperor is the good guy.
Yeah,
That's what we need now. The thing we've railed against for years was ESL monopoly, ESL market dominance. I called them out a number of times. I have prevented these monopolies in the past. Unfortunately, the only thing that would save CS right now would be either these companies coming together to work together to create one holistic solution, which is a season where you have a Face It event here if they're still doing events. You have a fucking Blast event here. You have an ESL event here. The IEM Grand Slam presides over it and takes priority. And if we can all work together and divide the calendar up and all take 30%, 40% hit to our business, just enough to survive, maybe we can grow in something bigger. So in the future, we're all making more money. Lurpus is right. That will not happen. People will not do that. People are not interested in doing that. No one wants to take the cut in the short term to potentially have more 5 years from now, because they might not make it to those 5 years. So who cares? IEM is great. I care because I've spent the last 20 years of my life playing or watching Counter-Strike, and the game has had an outsized impact on my life that I'd like for millions of others to experience too. And for that, it must become sustainable. So that was his first point. He's got another mega thread about viewership and CSGO rules. But I mean, look, he's proposed a lot of solutions there. I think what I would like is I'd like Valve to get involved, talk to all the TOs and the stakeholders. First of all, as well, by the way, why there are no revenue streams for teams in CSGO still outside of the stickers for majors. We might not. The next story we're going to cover, we might not even be getting a major now.
I'll comment on that because that's even a point that is very key in this context. People will have seen a couple of months back, I did an episode of the Esports Salon one, that industry talk show I do, where the guests on it was Carlos from G2 and what's his name? Fucking Nazgul from Team Liquid. It was like two massive high-profile org owners in esports. Not only that, I'd picked two who've even spent in CSGO during the lockdown period, like shown that they're not afraid of the space. By the way, neither of them in Flashpoint, because unsurprisingly, this shows how bad Flashpoint was. Couldn't even get a fucking cunt from Flashpoint to come on and talk about the economics of the game, because the joke is they all know it's terrible and none of them want to pay any money. So what's ridiculous is, right, I was thinking, it's going to be a weird episode, because effectively what I want to do is, let's be real, I want to do a show with like Hastro from Envy and just say, why are you leaving CS? And then have a back and forth. But here's the sad thing. None of the fucking cunts who actually do think CS is dying would come on camera and talk about why it's dying, right? Because that's, as Lurpus says, they also have this sort of like fucking, like this fear that if they say the words out loud, it will become true, and it'll also affect all of esports. All of esports will just collapse on itself as like as a mirage in the desert, and it was never real, right? So instead, I end up with these people who are actually two of the only people who think CS is worth staying in G2 and Liquid, right? And what Nazgul from Liquid effectively says is, listen, yes, salaries are large. Yes, the economics aren't perfect, but it's all right at the moment. And the one thing he asks for, basically, which is what you just said, is could Valve just at least let us like have more skins and stuff in the game? Like that'll just pay for the fucking division itself. And so that's the saddest part of it all, is that like I agree. In theory, if basically it's the same principle that happens in politics, by the way. I know no one in the modern day is allowed to think this premise because we live in some neoliberal fucking nightmare. But by definition, the best possible government in human history we have thus far had would just be when you had a king who wasn't an arsehole. Because it's one guy runs the whole thing, therefore he can have all the say. And if he's not an arsehole, he might actually make some things cool. The problem is,
they're all arseholes.
Yeah, you never want it because what if he's a total arsehole dictator and it's a nightmare? So the problem is, I agree with you, Richard. In theory, the actual best solution, even the most competent people, was for ESL to take over about half a decade ago. It's just if you know ESL half a decade ago or today, you would never fucking want those guys to be in control of the scene. So the other problem then becomes, as he's sort of pointing out here, it's like how else do you possibly get this game to be huge? Like it has to be Valve who then does it. And the problem is, I had the same thing happen in Dota. I remember thinking, this is great. The Dota Pro circuit sounds like they're going to solve all the problems. Now we won't have TOs battling each other. And it's like you just have some fucked up government regulation version of corruption instead, but from Valve now. So realistically, if I had to pick a short-term option, it's what you just said there. It's give the tournament I want TOs as well, but I want Blast and ESL to be able to do this. And I want Team Orgs. So I want Cloud9 and Team Liquid and these massive orgs. I want all these orgs to just get another way to benefit from the customer himself. The guy who plays the game, buys the skin, have more custom shit. It would be the most obvious short-term way to generate some money. Because essentially, let's be real, making those skins in that skin market, that's some like fucking alchemy level shit, mate. You're taking a bunch of nonsense pixels on a screen and just spinning it into real money. I know you're going to go, haha, not real money. It has no real world value, Thorin. But we all know the way that game's played. So I think that's the area I'd rather Valve was involved with. Basically, it's one of the other things Riot doesn't do.
They just did it in Dota. This
stingy. They're always so stingy on what they'll let you actually make money. Because unfortunately, this is the real problem I've got, and this is my final take on it. It goes like this. The problem is this, Richard. If you ever talk to any game dev, and I guarantee Valve are in this sport, they do all sort of think, well, I'll let you in on my money. That's my money. You can make a bit of money on your own, but you never get part of my money. They still think it's their share. They don't seem to realise if Na'Vi made some fucking simple skin that sold every fucking cunt on the AWP, buy this AWP skin. You don't make that just because it's your game. You make it because it's simple, you daft cunt, and all the shit he does as a player. So, like, if Valve could figure that out and partner with the TOs and the TMOs, I think we could actually, like, get a reprieve. That's the most logical place.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And like I say, I've seen signs, you know, like, put it this way, they understand the Dota issue, right? That, like, you know, for this DPC, you know, you can go on and there's tiers of support for an org. And what I get like 4 recorded voice lines from the players saying something funny that I can use in the game, which, by the way, voice lines would be a good thing to pay for in CS. Like, you know, they don't have an impact on play. You know, being able to say something in buy time or whatever, that'd be a way around it. But yeah, I mean, they're not, you know, there's other things like skins, as you said. They don't do any of this. I can have that in Dota. You know, I can go and have this now, and the teams get like whatever it is, like probably 25%, not even 50, but it's something. You can now say if our team's popular, if our players are popular, we can monetize that popularity by having in-game, you know, support. Yes. We haven't had that in CS. The stickers don't help orgs, and orgs are paying the salary. In fact, it's the opinion of Valve that even though the sticker is the org logo, they'd much rather the players were making that money. Yep. It's why they brought the signatures in to fix the problem of orgs going, well, we're going to have that because that's our IP.
By the way, isn't that another issue that we have to sort of tie into this, because it is tangentially related, is that Valve can't in 2021, Richard, still be on that train of like, they're just people who happen to be good at our game and they should just be like playing without orgs and, you know, just enter the major, and if you're good, you can qualify. Like, they have to acknowledge eventually it is an ecosystem with like a team org set up, and like, you just aren't getting these outsiders. Like, they still act, like I say, like the fucking movie The Wizard. They think Simple's just some kid in Ukraine who's like, oh, I entered a tournament and now I'm in the world's sick. Like, he's not. He's a fucking pro player, and Na'Vi's org has to pay him an enormous amount of money to play this game. Like, eventually Valve has to acknowledge that. They can't sort of stick with this naive, like, player worship.
I just think they're a company that just they'll sit back because they're set. They'll sit back and watch something burn down so they can fucking assess how and why and then use that for something else. I don't think they genuinely are invested in longevity in any sort of traditional sense. I don't think they need to be. I think they make so many things that they're always going to be artificially propped up by the existence of Steam.
Yes,
They're
that's
developing.
true.
They're developing. You know, that's something no other games developer has. Do you have the monopoly on online video game sales, where literally developers, again, being in that position, you have to be on Steam or your game doesn't exist and people won't go anywhere to go get it, and then you have to pay a percentage to sell your product at their market, essentially. So they're never they don't need to do anything. They can sit in their office just watching money accumulate for literally doing nothing.
Another example why you don't want monopolies in it.
Yeah, and just basically tinker around and try new things, and there is no impetus because failure is irrelevant. This is the problem when you create these monopolies. If failure becomes irrelevant, so why I don't have the same stakes as you. There's a thread on HLTV right now as we're doing this show, saying fuck Richard Lewis, fuck Thorin, Richard Ghoulish, someone called me. I don't know what you were
creative,
going for there.
aren't they? I know.
Mental illness as well, right? And basically, it's exactly the problem. They're going, why would I care if the esports scene died? Why would I care if it went back to 1.6 with 2,000 people watching? It wouldn't affect me in any way. Well, it would, because you won't be seeing the same players and you won't be seeing the same teams. So yeah, it will affect you. You might still be interested in the game, but I doubt you'll be interested in the esports side of it anymore. And literally, we're already at 60 comments, all in agreement. So, and people saying, there's even one in there, I would never pay to watch a CS stream because until they up the production value.
And handle people like that. I know, it's mental, isn't it? It's mental, mate.
Guess how we do that? Well, no, but it's what I mean. So it is the fans. And of course, the other prevailing wisdom.
By the way, where he really thinks that if the game just shrinks, it'll be fine. That's, by the way, that is so naive. That's like someone saying in like the fucking 50s, I don't care about TV. I'll just listen to radio for 2,000 years. Like, it's not going to be there. It's going to be fucking gone, isn't it, you dumb con? They're not just going to keep your shit the same and then also run TV. Eventually, they're just going to scale your thing down, aren't they? Like, think it through.
And the rest of it is, without the fans, the classic, without the fans, there would be no business. And that's only partially true, because here's what you have to understand. Like, it is a symbiotic relationship, because if you just passively consume and don't pay for anything ever, you are not your existence is irrelevant. This is why these businesses for years have fudged the numbers. That's all they have, really, because you won't pay for anything. So I better lie about, it's actually millions. And if you turn that into hours, it's tens of millions. And if you use footfall, it's billions. And, they have to fudge these fucking numbers because you guys just won't actually. Like, if 1% of you started paying for the product that you claim to love so much, we probably have an upward industry now. Yeah, we'd probably be living the dream, but we're not. And instead, you're going to say, we are the fans. We give you everything. You say it to players. Without the fans, you're nothing. Not true. They'd still be unbelievably talented. They'd still be employed to play the game. They'd just be deeply unpopular. Without the fans, you wouldn't exist, Richard. I'd just go do something else because I have a skill set that enables me to do it. And trust me, I've never done this for the likes. Never done this for the approval. But if the fans didn't tune in to watch, you are watching because you claim to enjoy it. You're not watching because you love ESL. Yep. So stop fucking pretending that you are some sort of, omniscient, omnipotent being that, like, well, if we give you your love, you will be allowed to survive. You're nothing. You are people that get free fucking content. That people can then take that number, put it on a spreadsheet, and hope someone is dumb enough to pay for it on the proviso that you may decide one day to spend some of your money on a sponsor. That is the model. That is the model. That's all we have. So until we get better models, that's it. Anyway, enough about the doom of the business model. Let's talk about why CS is struggling in particular, and let's talk about the viewership problems we've got with CS. Obviously, IEM Cologne has been going on, and you made a pretty good tweet. I thought about it the other day. Everyone's saying, we need to go to MR12 because the games are running too long. And again, I'll give you this thread if you want to see it, Sam, and bring it up. But I probably won't read the whole thing because we're already at 90 minutes. So the bottom line is like Tommy did a breakdown on the games. So let's have Liquid versus Mouse. That was probably the longest game that's been held at IEM because it had like a quadruple or it might even have been a quintuple overtime. Right. So here's the breakdown. The series took 4 hours and 50 minutes. Right? That's what a best of 3 took for Liquid and Mouse. And the actual game was actual game time, 1 hour, 35, 58 seconds. Freeze time, 17 minutes, 40 seconds. Total game time, 1 hour, 53 minutes and 38 seconds, with 12 minutes of tech timeouts, 4 minutes of tactical timeouts, and 8 minutes, 17 seconds of breaks. So that's your series, right? It's too much. That was just Inferno. That's just
one
Inferno.
Map took 2 hours, 17 minutes, even though it was like OTs or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So 2 hours, 17 minutes to play one map of Counter-Strike. And people are saying already in the chat, they're typing it, that is an outlier. It is no longer an outlier, my friend. You will find it's actually becoming increasingly the norm.
They never watched the team called Navi play. Every fucking series is 3 maps. It goes forever. Yeah. Every game 16-14. Have you ever been watching?
Because Valve have balanced the game a certain way with the money, where now the terrorists have all the economic advantages, better guns for cheaper, like you basically now in CS, you don't even have to get the plant on the first round to have better weapons than the CTs on the second round. That's where we're at. And so as a result, when you have these imbalances, and it's an imbalance that exists, it's not on a map. We always had imbalanced maps, but now the imbalance is core in the economy. All games will run long because all CT sides, you have to save. There is no point going for a clutch anymore. There's no point going for a 3v5 except in some very extreme situations. But that's all right because I'm going to get the T side after.
Yep.
And so I can't remember the last time I saw a blow up on Inferno. I think the best I've seen recently was 16-11. And that's a huge margin. Bottom line now, you're lucky if you get a 16-14. Generally, you're talking overtimes. It's about who mentally breaks. There's no more hard resets in the game. People are gamble stacking more in the tactics because that's just what makes sense in the economy. The balance is bad. Valve fucked the balance of the game. So every map has become this attritional slog for CTs. Economic management is the most important part of the game. And guess what that means? Makes time management the second most important part of the game because you have to fucking wait people out, see who's going to peak first, see who's going to make that mistake because one entry frag on the T side pretty much wins you a round now. So all the rounds around you, why do a fast execute and risk it unless, again, you've got the God spawn? No, people set up for these perfectly aligned executes and they want to go at the last minute to stop rotations. So Inferno and Overpass are just these unbelievable fucking, grueling maps now. So, and Nuke, there's the other one. Tommy uses an example there, 1 hour, 45 minutes for Astralis Phase on Nuke. So we have to do something, and unfortunately, Duncan, you hit the nail on the head. We can't rely on Valve to fucking rebalance the game and fix it when every patch they've made has brought us to this point. We're now looking at what can we do as a tournament organizer and the rules, and this is why I was researching all the baseball stuff. We are going to have to make some hard changes to the rules of the game if we keep this economy, because a fucking 9-hour series potentially, if everything goes horrifically wrong and you get a fucking that is unsustainable. It has the knock-on effect. It ruins your whole schedule. It ruins fans being able to tune in. It gives you reduced viewership. Players that don't want to come to your events. It creates too many problems. So we need to change the rules.
And by the way, this will also literally have, as mad as it sounds, this is a perfect example, by the way, of the problem CS is in at the moment. Because in the short term, if you're an idiot at ESL, you could go, brilliant, we're going to get even more average viewer hours. And it's like, but you won't, because you'll have less viewers watching those hours. Like, you'll actually end up not working in the long run. Because think about all those things added together. So on CT side, as you say, you get people where they just lose the first 2 entry guys when they're on CT side and they go, that's the end of that round, we're hiding now. And by the way, spoiler, if anyone hunts them down and kills any of those guns, now the whole round was a complete waste of time. You haven't got the guns and you lost the round, and there was no play. There's the most important part. There was no play. Like, you don't get all those amazing... Like, is it any wonder why people are going, Zipnix doesn't seem as clutchy. But he never fucking got a chance to go for anything, has he? He just saved now. All those classic times where you go to work, Zipnix, see if you can get the first kill, mate, before you back off. Oh, he's gotten 2. He's in a 1v2 now. That just doesn't happen now because it'd be stupid not to save the AWP if it's on the ground somewhere. Like, the economy has literally taken over the gameplay. Then, as Richard says, cause on the T side, you can do so much of a kill or two. Everyone just sits waiting. It's a stalemate. It's already a long game by the way the economy works, and now your gameplay is incentivizing slower play that effectively just wastes each other's time playing chicken to see who's going to peak first. And then after all of that, right, because I think the other factor as well, it's like I said in my tweet, basically, what I said was, you can see people have no faith in Valve to actually fix the economy, because they're now trying to just find like ways that are sort of like around it. Like, what if we just play less rounds? Like, this is madness that's even the solution. But I get why it is. And in fact, I even think another aspect, here's one of the dirty secrets no one talks about. You know, when they were going to remove the last map and they were obviously bringing in fucking Ancient Rights, they removed Train. There was loads of people who were like, you know what? Nuke really grew on me over time. Yeah, because they made the economy so that you don't get 16-2 from the CT side anymore. That doesn't happen. The amount of times, by the way, I've seen teams who weren't even really good on Nuke win the T side now. That's because the economy's just busted. You took, by definition, the worst map, and you just made it so that now the Ts have the fucking advantage in this game. This is madness. Like, I've seen Ts play with 0 AWP, 5 rifles, and just dominate the outside of the nuke. What is this shit? But yeah, that's because you could have AKs all day long every round. So I always say it like this. I actually had a video that was mad prescient on this. I think I might have put it out.
Charge only.
No, that wasn't that. But what I was going to say is this. I basically nailed really early on when they made this economy change that the worst part isn't all these like 64. It's that it makes it so that on the CT side you can't lose any guns. That actually ruins Counter-Strike itself. Yep. Like, as we're saying, if you don't go for like if you think of classic Counter-Strike, we'll use the Fnatic team from earlier. If Olaf Meister, Crims, and fucking Flusher are alive in a 3v5 against some Virtus Pro team 6 years ago, they're going for that because they're the best players in the world. They're going to do some genius telepathic hive mind move where they pick everyone off and win with 2 seconds left on the clock. No one's going for that round in Counter-Strike now. They just go to the other bomb site and save the AWP and go, see you next round, and take a tech time out and have a talk about, like, it's garbage. They've made the product actually shit, unfortunately. And all these elements come from the fact that Valve, on some inherent level, didn't understand what they were doing to the game. And we've just had to suffer ever since. And I think these problems have been here a while now. It's just people are finally realizing it's making the game shit to watch.
No, but this is what I mean, right? So it's great in terms of tactical high-level stuff, but it's a nightmare for anyone who isn't a purist. And meanwhile, if I'm a Zoomer with my ADHD, I can go and watch a game of Valorant in 20 minutes. Can watch a map get played out in 20 minutes, no bother. No,
by the way, the reason why I said it, because I also did make a tweet about charges only. The reason I said that one, though, is because that was one where the whole point of that system is like American football. You have a set amount of time. So the point is, if you really want to solve the problem, there's one way you can do it. Because if I tell you every map of Counter-Strike is maximum 40 minutes, in fact, on this system, by the way, it's always 40 minutes. Then there we go. We can have a system like that. You can't schedule that.
So people probably don't remember charge-only rules. Like, me and you were from that era. CO is another term you might have heard, but charges only. Basically, it just meant that, like, for those that are new, it just meant that only offensive rounds applied. So basically, you were incentivized, and you had a set amount of time to get as many as possible. There was loads of invention around the rules there. It was like you had this thing called the Swedish Eco, which was where you all typed kill in console because it wasn't worth even attempting to do the charge with the guns that you had. So you died, you typed kill, you built your economy up, and there was an aspect to that. Then it was how many of those can you do a game and when do you do it? And so it did have its own kind of tactical flair. But basically, what you had to do. It was all about time management. It was and
it's very much like an NFL game, by the way. In the same way as everyone knows, when you've only got 2 minutes left, you have to do the 2-minute drill where you just push it down the field. As well as if I have 5 minutes, I can go nice and slow, and I can just move the chains, and I can take every perfect chance. It's the same premise, basically, Richard. I agree. There's a lot of things that will be hard to get into, but the core of it is very good.
The beauty of it as a game mode was there was never any reason to save. You just went and died. So in other words, every round, every aggressive round, you were tempted to clutch.
Yep.
There was never a save. You didn't save. I mean, I could maybe think like a handful of situations you would do it, right? And so 15 minutes each side, who gets the most? It fell out of favor because we were building. I mean, like, keep in mind this was at the time when we didn't even know what rule set we were going to use for CS. This was at a time when you could be experimental. MR12 was really dull. It was like 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds was the one, and obviously that was pioneered by German and French players who just wanted to sit and spawn with an AWP game. And man, if that had been the thing that had won out, we wouldn't be here today. Then somebody said, look, how about MR15 with 1 minute 45 rounds? And we went to that because it was more fast-paced than MR12, and you didn't have to suffer through maps like fucking Prodigy and Aztec where nobody moved. Essentially, what we've done is recreate MR12 with more fucking rounds. That's what we've done. That we wouldn't have an esports scene if MR12 had won out back then. It was boring. It was shit. People were trying all this new stuff out. CGS probably took it a bit too far with MR9. And again, for the new kids, MR9 is literally, it was MR9, so first to 10, because Americans only understand round numbers, and 16k start money. So you barely ever saw a pistol round. I'll tell you what, I'd take MR9 back from the dead over this. I would, even though I know it fundamentally just removes the economy entirely and takes money management and by extension time management out, I would rather see MR9. But listen, here's what someone has to do. Here's what someone has to do. And please, Flashpoint, maybe make it you, because the Blast, they're not going to fuck with what they got. ESL, they're not going to fuck with what they got. We need an upstart TO to run one of these tournaments and incentivize all the top teams going and giving it a try. Charge only, MR9, some of the iteration of the rules that don't exist, MR12, trying that, whatever it is. And then we need to just do it, get all the players to buy in, and hopefully it will be so entertaining and so amazing and so convenient for a TO, it will become the new way, because we need to go into it. And as I said, here's why I want to compare it to baseball. Originally, in baseball, it was a mess. There were no rules. You would face infinite pitches, and you could keep batting all fucking day. Back when it was bat ball, right? It was inconceivable. So when the game became hugely popular, because remember, it was a derivation from cricket and rounders and some other stuff that had existed. So when it came over to America, and I think it started in Hoboken. I think it was actually a place called Pigtown, where it used to, no joke, it was called Pigtown because it was all pig farms and sewerage farms. And basically some like pioneer basically bought a bunch of land over there because it was cheap, and he created baseball fields. But anyway, before we even get to that point, right, you
made some sort of joke like, the mayor was surname Weckle or whatever his name was.
Low hanging fruit.
I know.
Low hanging fruit. But anyway, so basically, what they did was, like, when the game first come over, it wasn't convenient to play. When could you play it? At a time, by the way, when economically people had to be out working, people had just come out of, like, another fucking depression. There was all sorts of problems. So people needed to fucking streamline the game, and that's where the Knickerbockers come in. And what they did is they said, right, well, we have to codify some of the rules. And we're going to make some changes so you can get a game done in a relatively convenient amount of time. First one they made, obviously, was the 3 strikes rule, because that cut down on the number of pitches that you had, significantly reduced it. There were still some others, because actually another funny iteration of bat ball or whatever it was called, you could throw the ball at the player repeatedly, and you could beam them repeatedly with a cork ball, because basically that made it harder to hit the bat. to hit it, right? So you got a lot of ducking, a lot of moving. But when there's no limitation, there's no rule that sort of takes that away. So eventually, as well, if you get hit with the ball, you're allowed to take your pace, you're allowed to walk on. This is, and slowly but surely, they introduced rules that brought the game down in size. And eventually, they were the ones that came up with, we should only have 9 players on a squad. Before, a squad was as many boys as you wanted to fucking turn up. And so it was, they were like, you can only have 9. And then the number of pitches that you could ultimately face. It was the Knickerbockers that even after this, the game was still taking too long. And they said, why don't we limit the innings? Why don't we limit how many innings? It's 9 innings. And so as a result, now we've put a limited amount of time on the game. And you know what happened at that point?
Graham Hughes or something?
People came in and said, right, now I want to invest.
Right.
Because we don't have to hire a stadium. We'll build a stadium and we'll sell it for 25 cents on the dollar. 25 cents rather, out of your average daily dollar, and you can go and watch a baseball game and you can be out in a couple of hours, 3 hours if it's a long one, There's a limited amount of time. So investors came and the game blew up and it did become America's pastime. It was critical.
The irony, of course, though, is that now it's considered the longest game that no one wants to watch. So the irony is they should do the same thing again, Richard.
Well, no, the problem is, it's not that the games are individually bad, it's that there's 162 of them in a season.
That's a problem for sure.
Talk about oversaturation of content.
Bloody hell, how do we get on that baseball? Like?
Yeah, no. Now, funnily enough, viewership, and this could be false.
Planning on running an MLB season with double a limb.
They had a 60-game season because of COVID last season. And I think viewership might have gone up. I'm not too sure about that. Somebody can check that and put it in the chat if they want. But it arrested a sort of drop off. But they've got an oversaturation problem. It's not the rules of the game. It's that there's too many teams playing it and that their league structure is ridiculous. I mean, again, another little interesting tidbit, nothing to do with what we're talking about. They don't even have the same rules. You have the American League and the National League. They don't and the winners of each of that, in the World Series come through the playoffs and all that, which, by the way, is a great idea. It's just too many games. But they don't even have the same rules in those divisions. American League, you have something called a designated hitter, which means that I can choose someone from my squad to bat in place of the pitcher. In the National League, the pitcher's got the bat. So it's baseball's fascinating, seriously, and esports can learn so much. In the early days, I used to say Magic the Gathering, the World Tour was what we needed to learn for. Fuck that now. We've gone above and beyond. Now we need to look at the critical points of formative sports that went on to be huge, and we need to make these hard choices. And unfortunately for me, based on everything that we could learn from baseball, we need to come up with a rule set that works for tournament organizers, so we can control time. It was the biggest problem on E-League. Do you remember? It was like sometimes we'd finish early and they would have a rerun of Big Bang Theory queued up to go out if we got off air. But other times, if it ran a fucking 4 a.m., all the production would be like, like there was no way. How can you have a TV show like that can run forever? Not even sports does that, by the way. Like, that's why penalties isn't a bad idea. I know it's a sore subject to everyone right now. Having a hard cut-off point in a game is necessary. With CS, the games can last forever. Think about that. We have a rule set that doesn't have a hard cut-off. Like, even if you're limited, like, okay, 2 overtimes, and I don't know what it would be. I don't know what the equivalent of penalties in CS would be. AMAP or something. That'd be disastrous. I wouldn't want that. But at least then TOs could work around. The longest it could possibly go is this. We don't even have that. So, yeah, we need to change the rules now. And it has to be a change that makes the game shorter and also a change that facilitates the game being more entertaining. When we've got Valorant breathing down our neck, it'd be nice. I'd love to see a charge-only tournament. I don't know if you still... talk to Monty, please, make the neit's Flashpoint.
Here's the thing, I would like to do it. It's just, this is one of those areas where I'm a bit more pessimistic than other people. I've just found in life, like, you never know that people will actually listen to good ideas. That's the problem. So, like, I would like someone to try it. I just don't know whether it would actually have the effect I hope it would. Because I always thought, like, years and years ago, this should have been implemented. It was an obvious broadcast tweak. Yep. And like I say, essentially, the thing that really sold me on it was more recently, which is, I told you, when I really made the connection in my brain, that actually Counter-Strike's closest analog isn't basketball, which you think because of the 5v5. It's actually American football because of the tactical element, which is what people in theory are supposed to love. Well, this in theory only makes that better Because as Richard was saying, because the time management part is this: instead of having 15 T rounds, and even then, not all of those you have the guns, and not all those you have instead of that, imagine having the choice based on your playing style. So maybe I like to play like, imagine I'm some sick mid-round caller. Maybe I just run 30 T rounds essentially, but they're all really quick, 30 seconds in and out. If I get the initial frag, we go on the site, we hit them hard and fast. Now we can, in theory, if we have an amazing game, we could score 20 points. Meanwhile, along comes, we'll make it a ridiculous example, old school fucking Blade Flipside comes along, and he only wants the most perfect execution ever. And so you know what? In the game where he has an awesome game, he might only score 12 points. But that's the choice he's made. That's the style he wants to play. So you can now see, you have to weigh up, which is it worth? Well, the other factor that people are going to forget about in this dynamic is whoever went first on the T side sets the score effectively. So if you have a terrible first half where you only get 4 rounds, I have all my 20 minutes. I just have to get 5 rounds in 20. I can really change how I play the game. So the strategical actual implications are really interesting. Like, I guarantee, even because the problem is it was so long ago this was used, most people have never actually experienced it. People out there like Sponge, other analysts, they would fucking love this shit. They would be all over it, I guarantee. You have to get past a few idiosyncrasies first, but once you do, the depth of it is mega. It's mega.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll get on that train. I've talked to Sponge, talked to Azza recently, Elige. Like, we've all, everyone's in the MR12 camp, it seems. But we're only doing that because it's the easiest cut.
Yeah, of course.
It keeps the game recognizable. We just play less rounds of it.
Yeah.
There's a fundamental problem at the core of the game, and I don't know if Valve are ever going to fix it. Remember, I don't want developers, by the way, to just change things based on what the community says. Execute your vision, sure. Yes. But your vision right now is not conducive to a good and entertaining esport, and it hasn't been. I mean, we all know it. This is the elephant in the room no one's talked about. People aren't enjoying watching CS.
Sure.
It's a tedious slog, except when again, me and you will always enjoy it because we're purists. I sit down, I'll watch a game, but I know now I'm in for fucking 40 rounds, probably, like, super close, fine margins. I can enjoy that. Your average guy who's been, neat game, got 100 hours, they're silver 2, they're starting their journey. I'll turn on a tournament today. Why do they never try and clutch? Why is it going on forever? My mum shouting me for me tea. I'm off. That's it. That was their attempt at an introduction into esports, and they have fucking bounced off it like one of them power balls that you used to get as a kid. They're never coming back. And so we have an obligation, if we want to grow this game and make it fucking entertaining. And if we want to make it entertaining, we can't rely on Valve balance being the factor. We have to do it ourselves. And like I said, I'd make a hard cut. I'll try. Any sponsors out there, because I know everyone in the industry watches this podcast. Me and Duncan will work a fucking CO event for you. Let's online, whatever. We'll go around. We'll even try and persuade all the top players to come in and give it a try. You just rustle up the fucking prize money and some admins. Right?
We can make it manageable. We can make it like a fucking 14 tournament or something and just set it all up. Yeah, we can make it reasonable.
Yeah, of course we need some calendar space to do it. ESL, please. Can I have a crumb of space? Can I have a weekend? Whatever. Right, anyway, let's do the last talking point. And then I don't even know if we're going to get viewer questions here, but I can't leave this one out because I did promise you, didn't I? Materials. I said I brought the materials. So, Sweden. I've been saying for ages, because I've been on the CSGO is in bad fucking shape train for a while. I did a stream again that sort of blew up a little bit in December. The Valve staff even reached out to me after they watched it, said during it that I didn't think that they answered my emails anymore, and it turned out maybe 1 or 2 we got lost in a filter or whatever. Perfect. But yeah, I've been on this for a while, and I've been saying the most important thing that we need is we've got to have the major bang. It's got to recapture the imagination. It's got to be at LAN. We've got to hear a crowd again in the background. And that's what we need. And if we have that and we show what CS can be when it's in a stadium with a crowd, I don't think everyone who's been on the Valorant train will go, oh, that looks fucking nice and shiny. And so even it would be a shot across the bows to the competition, and it would get everyone's enthusiasm up again, from players to talent to TOs to everybody. Now, they've decided to hold it in Sweden. Makes sense. Sweden is a good spot historically for a major, especially a comeback major. Great narrative there. NIP, you've got a decent Swedish team at the moment. It could all potentially bang. But what happened just a few weeks ago was the TI, the international, for Dota, that was also going to be held out there. The government turned around and said, oh, no. Despite us being an esports pioneering nation, despite being ever since the invention of broadband internet, we were one of the very first to sort of wholesale adopt it. And as a result, you had a generation of gamers who were all just sick in esports titles. Despite that being our history, we fundamentally reject the idea that these people are athletes. And we're not going to give them a special COVID exemption, meaning that people who wanted to travel to play at TI no longer can. And Valve had meetings with them prior to this where they were told, listen, it's going to be debated in Parliament, Swedish government's going to make a ruling on it. And I'm pretty confident you will get that exemption, so don't worry about it. And then they turn around. It turns out they just completely lied to Valve. The exemption hasn't been made, wasn't likely to have been made. And now, at the last minute, and no doubt with great expense, but boo-hoo, Valve can afford it, they've had to put on the TI in Romania, a country that's just like, yeah, fucking please come and hold your events here because it's really good for our economy.
Funnily enough, the home country of PGL.
Yes, exactly. So, which, trust me, Romania might be in for a good esports year.
Exactly, yeah. Could end up being important.
So that when that happened, the initial reports were, but don't worry, because the CSGO major doesn't happen until the end of October. Well, listen, to plan a major and execute a major as flawlessly as you hope PGL are going to do because they run great events, you have to start doing it kind of like now.
Yeah.
And so they're currently in debate to have this discussion about whether or not they're going to overturn this exemption and recognize esports stars as athletes, something that even America has done, and they're obviously really precious about their little bits of paper that let you get in and out the country. Even they've recognized in these.
Think about how crazy that makes America look, right? Everyone's been talking mad shit, justifiably, during the Trump administration about how harsh it became to get visas.
Outrageous.
They could still come in during the fucking lockdown to play League of Legends professionally, but you can't go to Sweden to play top-level Counter-Strike. Like, something's wrong with this picture, guys.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It really is. Especially given that, look, listen, we're going to get another spike, obviously, because lockdowns are all being relaxed. Lockdowns get relaxed, cases go up. Overall, though, deaths are down, even as cases have gone up. And so, without trying to peddle any fucking nonsense and get into the whole COVID debate, because obviously that's just become a minefield where you can't even say very milquetoast opinions about it. The bottom line is that with the right protections and the right protocols, you can manage this. That's what all the data is showing us outside of that initial spike. And that's why governments are feeling comfortable in relaxing these protocols. Now, the idea, by the way, that's being foisted upon you from the Swedish government is that it's too much of a risk right now to recognize. It would create a risk of too many cases if we were to allow esports the same recognition as athletes to get the exemption so that they can enter the country. They think that's going to be the tipping point. That's their argument. And so that's nonsense because there's not enough of us to be a significant vector for infection, I don't think. And obviously, all events now, as ESL have shown us, all events have shown that if you do put in the effort and you do care, and you don't do what fucking Face It Flashpoint did. It's a bubble, but I go home on the weekends. Not a bubble, right? If you do it properly, like fair play to ESL Cologne, they've done it properly. You can limit infections and spreading. And so the one infection that supposedly happened at Cologne was heroic, and it was a false positive from a player that had previously had it. Everyone stayed in the hotel. Everyone's observed quarantine. So far, there's been not a single report of a player being ill or sick. Everyone's washing their hands. Everyone's, masking in and out. They've created a hermetically sealed bubble. If ESL can do this in Cologne, and, obviously, there's people playing in hotels and stuff, whatever. But if they can do it, PGL can certainly do it. Swedish esports organizations can certainly do it. Anyone can do it. So the idea that we should essentially not have esports events because, you know, it's not worth the risk of exempting them, not recognizing them what they are, which is they are athletes, and because that poses a significant public health risk, to me is absolutely absurd. But of course,
let's be real, it's just political bollocks. And here's why I can say that. We just had a bunch of contact sports literally take place, Richard, in Europe.
Yep.
This isn't even a contact sport. You sit in a different room to the guy and play. Like, remember, to be on LAN, you just have to technically be within a local area. You don't even have to ever physically interact. So, like, I know people made this point about football, which is like, how can on your one hand you be saying no one can meet in this way, but we can all, the same exact people can meet in a football stadium? Basically, here's the downside. This is another example of no matter what all your heroes told you, esports isn't big enough yet. Because if esports was soccer, this isn't even a discussion. It'd be because I saw this as well, Richard. I'm sure you saw this. Loads of fans going, they didn't even apply for the right one, though. They did the right. You are aware, right? It goes the other way around when you're the giant industry. The government will bend over backwards to get you in your country, into their country, and doing business with you. So to me, unfortunately, this is where esports is like almost big enough to be mainstream, but not quite. Because the idea like countries aren't begging to have the major, it kind of shows you we're not quite there yet, unfortunately.
I mean, I will add, there was an incident that did crop up with Sweden during the Euros, and that was when, for the Ukraine game, UEFA said they were going to host it in Scotland. I think it was in Glasgow. Okay. And so as a result of that, some people couldn't travel to it because of the restrictions, because they were even when they were operating on like a 25% capacity cap. So, you know, they did come out and turn around and say that was wrong and that was ridiculous. But you will notice the objection wasn't, well, it's a massive risk, so let's not have anyone go. The objection was, you've got it in Scotland, so our fans can't attend. So they were objectively fine with the idea of a large gathering of people. It would have been 12,000 people. So, you know, it's like you said. There's always going to be this level of hypocrisy because, yeah, esports.
It's how it works, isn't it?
Esports needs lobbyists.
Yes, it does, for real.
Yeah. So, but anyway, and of course, clip that for when in like 5 years, lobbyists are the biggest evil in esports.
I'll be ruining it.
Yeah, ruining it forever. Like everything else we've ever advocated for. But the reality is, yeah, like it's now in the news that it looks like the tournament is in danger. There was a lurid headline over in Expressen, a Swedish tabloid. Time is running out. Sweden, and again, this is Google Translate. Sweden lost the giant tournament in the international in Dota. Now the major in CSGO looks like it is about to move. Silvius 3, CEO of PGL, said, contacted Sports Expressen via an email and said there are no new developments. We might decide any day now to move it from Sweden. We are still hopeful of getting the exemption we requested to bring in the players, but there has been no indication at all as to whether it will happen or not. A rejection would mean a black year for Swedish esports, with two of the year's largest esports tournaments in the world not being held in the country. So we're on the precipice. I mean, I don't know what the reaction would be. Maybe the pivot is that you go and do it in Romania again. I mean, for me, I already saw comments. I hope it's not in Romania. The Cluj-Napoca crowd was really bad. There had been a national tragedy, by the way, where I think 50 people had burned to death in a nightclub, and it was declared a weekend of national mourning while we were doing counterstrike out there. You know, I know fans don't really like context and all that, but yeah, not a lot of reason to go and applaud. You know, when, like, say your prime minister's on fucking TV telling you this is like a dark day and we got to sort our shit out. It was a great event, though. One of the best all-time majors. And no coincidence, PGL were involved. So the reality is, I think if you do pivot, like I don't think PGL are, like, the indication from that isn't that they're just going to cancel the major. It's that they'd be willing to run one. Yes. And again, the ball goes into fucking Valve's court, doesn't it? Because now, I'll tell you this, I will be so fucking done. I mean, I will 100% all the way fully checked out of CS. Like, just let it die in its own piss and shit, right? If Valve turn around and go, we're not going to do a major this year.
Oh, that would be mental. Yeah, especially after you've left it this late. Like that, because you have let everyone build all their hopes and dreams into that tournament taking place for sure. Like, I agree, by the way. Yeah. If it can't happen in Sweden, literally anywhere, just has to happen. It has to happen somehow. And by the way, for people who don't know, like, Romania is a pretty legit spot, actually.
No, I mean, listen, and like, obviously, it might not have the connection through players and large fan bases to the sport, right? But in terms of its history of running straight fire fucking events, I've been to Romania many times.
Yep.
I've worked with PGL many times. All those events, all those memories. Romania is as much a part of esports history as any other nation. So, you know, with that in mind, I mean, I'm down. I'll you know, like I say, if it has to be in Romania, so be it. If Valve were willing to pivot TI to Romania, but don't pivot the major to another country and have one this year, I'm done. I mean,
that's also part of the issue, isn't it? It's one thing if they cancel the major, but if you cancel the major after you let TI take place, at that point, you're everything that all the memes about already care about Dota. It's just making them all true. It was just true all along. I mean, that's going to be like that shit meme. What, we only cared about Dota all along. Oh, wait, so we're like, yeah, we get it.
And I put it this way, I have no inside information on this because, again, it's just not my wheelhouse or what I'm doing with my life right now. And I could be out there like fucking Inspector Gadget grilling everyone and trying to find out what's going on. Whatever. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But put it this way, I'm about 50-50 as to whether we even get a major this year now. Mentally, I can honestly see Valve turning around and saying, well, we don't run that major. It's on PGL. But equally, because of the risks and we don't want to do it, we're all too focused on TI. And I can honestly see that. I mean, that's not an inconceivable outcome. That even with their reduced influence, you know, it was them that made the, you know, it was them that came in and said, look, the risks are too big in Brazil. Did it last minute, of course. Didn't give it, but you know, they made the decision ultimately, like in conjunction with their partners at ESL. It's not inconceivable, especially as well. We're at a little bit of a disadvantage actually coming after TI because we're going to get all the fucking news about Delta variant, lethality, new mutations. That after the Euros, there's going to be a spike. After restrictions get dropped again, it's going to be another spike. And we're just in the crosshairs of if the cases go too mental, government's going to lock down again.
It's exactly the time period when it's likely to happen, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. So
in as well, this is where some of the stuff we were talking about earlier bites CS in the ass. Like, here's another reason you go out your way to run the international if you're in Dota. Chinese money. It's all fucking Chinese money in Dota. There's fuck all Chinese, aside from obviously rigged online games and counter. There isn't Chinese money really. So unfortunately, Big Daddy Valve doesn't have the same motivation to get this event done, does he?
Yeah, well, and then you see, right, because this is a potential, as they said, a dark night for Swedish esports. Why not have the king of Swedish esports come out and make a bold proposal? So, Hitcham Chaheen.
By the way, I've got to say, I thought for a long time, kind of like when Anderson Silva just dominated that fucking middleweight division for all those years. I thought no one's ever going to beat this guy. I thought Nicola Nyholm just had it sewn up in CSGO. I thought he's done everything. He's had his finger in every pie. But as you said, I actually have made the mistake here, Richard, because first of all, Nicola Nyholm was but what, like fucking Galvatron to the Megatron that is Hitcham Straight Fire reference, by the way, if you know the
That's unbelievable. Yeah,
and also, like, he's actually got bigger ambitions. Like, Nyholm's almost just sort of given up, like, all right, just sell device, gradually offset all the assets, and let's just get the fuck out. This guy's going, no, I will rule the whole world. And no one will even... Because what's mad about this guy that's really crazy is he actually is impervious to shame. Yeah, like, here's what's mad. Totally. He still follows me and likes my tweets, even when I directly tweet just at him. I just quote tweet the cunt and just, like, disrespect him. But he just doesn't give a fuck. He's one of those people that's so cynical, Richard. I really think he just thinks, like, all publicity is good publicity. He's like one of those cunts saying those lines. Like, he's mad into this Hitcham guy. It's hilarious, though. I think he's funny in a way.
This is, like, just some of the most insane stuff I think I've seen for a while.
This tweet was amazing.
Hitcham Chain has tweeted at the Swedish Prime Minister and other advisors from the Swedish government, ministers, I should say. This is an official invite for lunch and video games, right? Big on that. Come and have a sandwich and play some games with us. We'll 5v5. We'll do a 5-stack. This is an official invite for lunch and video games at the NIP offices to learn more about esports. Assuming, of course, right there, they don't know anything about it. I'm sure they've looked at it. I'm sure they know what it is. Sweden has produced some of the largest esports stars and has been a leading country globally for decades. It's time to get involved. Now, here's the best part about him doing this, because he's talking about the virtues of Sweden and now it's been involved in esports all the time. And you should totally come and get involved. He's doing it at the same fucking week a story has broken that basically says, yeah, we're all about that esports in Sweden, but yeah, we will be merging with a Chinese investment company by giving up equity of our Swedish brand. And we're doing that so we can get floated on the NASDAQ. So this is the...
Fans, if you don't realise how pathetically cynical these companies are, when the same guy, the Hitcham Chahane guy, had just pulled off, by the way, one of the biggest blockbuster trades in the history of Counter-Strike, history of Swedish esports, signing the most decorated CSGO player ever, still arguably in their prime, to your franchise. He had the gall to sort of not even let that literal statement just sit and go, just wait for what we've got next, though, guys. This is even better. And then
he literally said that.
You're sitting there for months going, fucking hell, this is supposed to be amazing. What is it now? Are you getting Glaive as well? Is Sonic coming over? You're not going to believe this. I've just sold out to China. That's it. Why would I give a fuck about that? Why would that be good news to me?
They do become the first esports team to float on the US NASDAQ, though, as a result of that.
Exactly.
Doesn't that get your dick hard, mate?
That's so mad, isn't it? Also, by the way, how cooked has Device been in every single level of this nip deal?
Imagine you're him and you're watching the guy who signed you. Go, even more exciting news coming next week. Yeah, we're giving up part of our equity to a Chinese bank. What else? I'm the best part. I'm here to win you a trophy. Oh, they've wrecked him. I feel I like his initial hubris with the anonymous stuff, notwithstanding. Feel mad sorry for him. Like, they have wrecked him so hard. But
it's so fucked, isn't it?
They have wrecked him so hard. Like, it's so insane that you would put. But anyway, just to let you know as well, because you might go, Richard, not all Chinese money. Right. It all goes back to the same source.
I know.
Hashtag not all Chinese money. Right. So here's who they're merging with. They're merging with a team called ESV5, which isn't a very catchy name, but that is in itself a merger. So they are merging with an existing merger. That was a joint venture of Victory 5 esports organization. That's where they get the V5 and E-Star Gaming. Now, those orgs have investment from Doyu, the big streaming company, and as it says in the Reuters report here, Kihu 360, which is an antivirus firm, and Mario Ho, who is the son of a now deceased casino magnate from Macau. Now, here's the thing. If you go and look at where does the money from Doyu come from, yeah, it's Tencent. They have the majority stake. In fact, recently, a super merger between Doyu and the other one, is it Haya? I can never remember. Ouya, sorry. They have that would basically be like a merger between YouTube and Twitch.
Yes.
And so as a result, the Chinese corporation, incredible really, how even the Chinese government are like, yep, some monopolies are bad.
Mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Smarter than esports fans. The Chinese government shut that merger down. But
so let me just take a pulse of the esports scene. Chinese government, literally planned economy, by the way, can do anything they want, corrupt as fuck. They go, not feeling this monopoly thing. Esports fan in the West, I only want monopolies. Amazon should run literally everything. Dad, why are you unemployed? Anyway, PogChamp. Like, oh wait, actually, saying PogChamp is a sign as a hate crime. I don't say PogChamp. Like,
I don't say PogChamp. I did it all for PogChamp, and then they took away my PogChamp.
Y'all are making the Chinese look like the reasonable option. The reasonable. I don't know. Have you done this? Have you done this, esports fans? Why is this bad? Why is this bad?
It's
Why
mental.
does the literal CCP seem more reasonable and with its finger on the pulse of humanity than you, an esports fan in the West? I don't know.
Fucking mental. It's absolutely mental, bro. So yeah, they have decided, like, hey, let's sit down and talk about the importance of Sweden and Sweden's place in esports while we're selling our fucking legendary Swedish org, essentially selling it up to the Chinese in mega investment powerhouse so we can get floated on the Nasdaq and maybe keep ourselves financially relevant, which, by the way, also tells you its own fucking story. Because for all that thing he was saying, oh, it's a big exciting announcement, when Reuters, well, when the Associated Press thing was originally, before it went up on the Reuters wire, when this story leaked, NIP haven't given an official statement about it. You know why, of course, because they're waiting to like John fucking Cena, they're waiting to hear what fucking the Chinese guys have got to say about it. What do we say? What do we say? We will send you a pre-prepared statement, and you will not be using the word Taiwan. It's so mental, mate. So maybe not the best time to sit down with the fucking Prime Minister of Sweden to talk about everything you've ever given to the fucking country and how important it is to esports when you're literally using that esports heritage to line your pockets with Chinese money. If I was them, if I'm the government, yeah, I definitely want to come over for tea. I don't want to talk about esports so much. I like to have a word about
Also,
some of
I just like the timing of it as well, because like think about the whole history they've had, right? Obviously, like Fnatic, loads of amazing Swedish players, NIP themselves in history, Get Right Forest, loads of sprint players. The exact moment when you're trying to do this, of course, Hitcham Shaheen. Oh, have you met my new star player? He's from Denmark. Just brought him in recently. Like, what are you talking about, you fucking idiot? What? And also remember, by your own logic, you'd have to turn and go, shouldn't even be allowed to work here, technically, should he? Just a fucking freeloader. What?
mental.
Context is everything.
So, I mean, as I said, like, I don't know. I think we're in a weird spot for CS, and I think we're in a weird spot for the major, and I think we're in a weird spot for the industry as a whole. And I think CS is definitely like I say, I think the only way CS can pull itself out is we went from needing one thing to go right, and we now need about 5 things to go right. Otherwise, we are on borrowed time. And we're just going to be watching this great scene and great sport sort of swirl down the pan. Now, I'll also just add, also in baseball, just to line up the research, there's a guy, people should go look him up, a guy called Henry Chadwick. I found a kindred spirit, Duncan,
Okay.
while I was doing my research. Henry Chadwick, who died in 1908 at the incredible age for that time period of 83. So I'm hoping I'm not cursed with a long life, but let's see. Henry Chadwick was basically one of the sort of proto sports writers. He gets a lot of people call him the father of baseball because he was the guy who came up with score boxes for the game. So after the rules were codified, he was the guy who would meticulously track it across a number of publications he worked at. The reason they used the letter K for a strikeout is because of him. And they still use it to this day. Another opaque thing that baseball has that maybe people don't understand. And despite being a journalist, he's actually in the Baseball Hall of Fame, right? Now, he was the guy that promoted baseball when the rules were codified. Everywhere he went, every paper he worked for, he was talking about how it's amazing, it's got this bright future, it's an amazing game. He said, like, it now stands aside, from cricket and rounders. It's the definitive stick and ball sport. He was bringing stats and making them like easy to understand. He wrote all these like unbelievable, like glowing promotional pieces essentially of the sport, as well as just doing good on the ground, boots on the ground coverage. And so he was an award-winning journalist. And then when he started seeing certain elements come into baseball after it had been professionalized, he was the guy that covered all of the match fixing scandals of the early baseball era, and he actively stopped his role as a promoter and became a guy who campaigned against, quote, the evils of alcohol and gambling in our sport.
all that shit when they're like whatever the Black Sox at the home or when they
I think that might even because that might even have come after. I haven't got that far in my research.
Fair enough.
But there were enough people were supplementing ordinary salaries.
Well, it makes sense because they were making so little money, right?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, what people were doing was the stock market had obviously been took over by certain elements, and banks and other things, and so everyone was hedging their bets to sort of make more money and controlling outcomes. So when the sport professionalized, that was the next logical step. And so he was a guy who loved the game, helped grow the game, came up with the stats for the game, and then said, actually, with these elements in, the game probably has to be destroyed. It probably has to be brought back down to its bare elements because
what's wrong? That does sometimes have to be done.
So there you go, mate. I am but a shit version of Henry Chadwick for Counter-Strike. What a mad thing to find.
Basically, if you were ever in an episode of Quantum Leap, you'd just get stuck with that. You'd go, right, what am I doing now, Sam? And he'd go, well, Richard, you just have to stop corruption in baseball. Like, what the fuck?
But anyway, so there you go. Right, I am going to take some questions. We'll see how long these questions are, and we'll
can roll some over if necessary.
Yeah, we'll see. So BP 420, has there ever been a physical specimen of greater magnificence in the history of professional sports than Bo Jackson? Good question.
Got to be up there, and like listen, Wilt Chamberlain's a fucking banger as well. Like, if people don't know, Wilt Chamberlain is so like nuts. The stories about him that like people just assume they're fake. Like, even though he was a 7-foot man who was like unbelievable wings, blah blah, he was also like doing stuff like winning like his fucking state at like long distance running and jumping. It's like it's one of those people where it's like genuinely on the level of like fucking some Greek mythology shit, like the stuff this guy could do. So he's got to be up there. Bo Jackson is definitely one as well. If people don't know, played 2 sports at the same time. Was just like unbelievable physical. He's another great one. Think how many dude, the amount of sports he was doing at the same time. Like, in his era, you don't do the fucking long jump and 100 meters. Those sports aren't even connected.
And he's got gold medal in both, of course.
Oh, it's a banger. Yeah. He used to have the world record, I think, in both as well. Yeah. He's mental, isn't he? Oh, there's another one. If we're going with, like, sportsmen, how about the fucking classic Michael Johnson from the 90s? That 200 meter and 400 meter runner, he was unreal, mate. Yeah. He was unreal, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, because he did 100, 200, and 400, didn't he? And obviously the relay as well, the 4x100. So yeah, I think Carl Lewis was a lot. There's been like loads of subsequent debate about whether or not he did HGH because he ended up having to wear braces.
If you have a look at him,
yeah, he ended up having to wear braces and like later in life, and obviously that's a sign that your jaw is pushing out because of the HGH. It's one of the side effects. But I don't know. For me, he had too lean a physique. I don't know what if he was cycling anything. I don't know what he was doing, but he could have been one of those guys who slipped through the nets. I like to believe it. What he didn't do it. I think he was just an unreal, like proto-human, just like the next step in evolution because of everything he was doing. So yeah, Carlos would probably be my pick. But Bo Jackson's great, obviously, with being a Raiders fan and everything. Carv, still on sports. We've all had a nice few weeks of giving our team support and enjoying all the drama, but ultimately, for most of us all, we will remember some foul play, wasted opportunities, and missed penalties. Now it's all over and the dust has settled. What punitive measures would you like to see take against Epic and Akuma Baise?
There we go. I always forgot Carv's usually pretty. His execution's pretty good on the tweet, isn't it? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the bottom line is there's not going to be any.
Realistically, first things first, Epicenter probably should never be allowed to run a Valve event again. That should go without saying, right? That should be at the minimum, I feel.
Ever again, I don't like final, like punitive.
What would they need to do, though? Okay, what would they have to at least like prove something to get the event back?
I think a review. What I would do if I was Valve is I would have a review of measures at 2 years.
Okay.
I would just make an agreement. We're not going to give you anything.
They'd have to level their shit up a lot, though. Like what they did definitely wasn't good enough. I'm with them on that.
Well, I mean, like you say, the worst part about it is like, and again, I just say these things because I'm in semi-retirement in my brain. When you look at all the evidence laid out, the most obvious narrative is that there was a conspiracy involving people within the company. Yes. It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Yeah,
that you would have a tournament running this way with these teams. with these stipulations in the rules, with things leaking the way it did, with it all benefiting one particular team, and there's too many components to it to me for there not to be some conspiratorial element to it, and that's another reason why a lot of people have, like, I saw Akuma had won like whatever shit tier league they're in ESEA, and everyone was like, maybe we're too harsh and we've judged them too harshly. It's like, yeah, it's incredible the levels of forgiveness you will give to like players who've done shit like that, even convicted coaches. But people with bad tweets are to be despised and hated and burned in the fires for all eternity. It really does show how shit the average esports fan is. You will take cheats over people who just express their opinions with some degree of confidence because they believe they've earned the right to. Interesting. All right, Chingu, when you guys eventually get old and retire, now, where would you want to live and what would you spend your time doing?
That's a tough one because the problem I have is obviously all my adult life I've just worked and most of my leisure's been on a computer. So to some degree I can't totally go off grid, but part of me does want to one day just sort of live in the countryside and just have a chill life, you know. So I'm not sure how I'll do that, but one day, like to just have, like, basically my dream in a way is sort of, it's part of the reason I got into journalism in a way in the beginning, is I always did sort of just want to be like where you get to the, this doesn't exist anymore, but I always said to you, like when you get to the point like Christopher Hitchens was in like the end of the 90s, the early 2000s, where you're like the decorated, established person in your field, you can sort of pick and choose what jobs you do. You get the cushy column gig where you just write a fire column every month, and to some degree you're a man of leisure and letters and all that crap, you know. So I'd sort of like to wind down a little bit, but still keep my finger in the right area, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I don't know, and when I decide to stop this, and when I don't crave an audience anymore, I don't know what point that'll be. Obviously, I've got a book or two in me, I think, which you don't need to be online sort of right. So, I mean, fully gone log cabin shit for me, off grid, like just try and ride out the fucking apocalypse and like, you know, hope that whatever kills me doesn't kill me in such a horrific, debilitating way I have to go into a hospice. You know, that's just it. I have like increasingly becoming disenchanted with the human experiment, so I'm all right. So I'll just go write somewhere. Might get a collection of poems out as well, whatever. Zumba, across any esport, what's the pettiest reason for a roster change that you are comfortable talking about? I'll say this one. What didn't the flusher when he first left Fnatic, didn't that happen over? Wasn't it literally to do with like washing up and toilet shit in the house?
I can't remember if that was the specifics. I don't remember the details of that one. There have been some that were like that, though. Obviously, yeah, like ridiculous, like roommate level shit, kicking people out and all. By the way, I would just say, even though it's not technically official, I was involved in one recently in League of Legends. I thought it was pretty mental. Where effectively,
oh yeah,
a top player in the world, Alfari, this UK player actually, on a top American team, Team Liquid, legitimately was benched for almost a month for just telling his coach, like, I don't think you're a good coach. And the guy was just like, right, well, you're benched then. Which, by the way, if you want the analogy, that is legitimately like whoever the fuck, I don't know who the manager now is, but that's like if the manager of Spurs had like a mild disagreement and then was like, right, Kane, you're benched for the rest of the season. It's like, well, not only have you...
was mad enough to do that, mate.
Maybe, but in that scenario, like, you've absolutely cut off your own nose despite your fucking face there, mate. Like, you've just wrecked yourself and him, haven't you? That's why I say it's so petty. Like, there's not even a good reason for it.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, thanks for that. That was from Zumba, if I didn't say. First sock, what current free agent would be the biggest loss if they went to Valorant?
Oh, let me think. Free agent.
Kenny S is a free agent.
Personally, I feel like any of the legends, Kenny S, Guardian, like these are players where, like, listen, there are players like that in Valorant, but like these are like you think of those players, you think Counter-Strike, don't you? Yeah, if Kenny S goes to Valorant, it's going to be a bit depressing, isn't it? I'd probably watch it, to be fair. I'd give it a go, but you still want those players to retire in Counter-Strike and play a lot longer if possible.
Yeah, I've been thinking about, you know,
any
like
of the Astralis ones, like mate, if Glaive went to Valorant, it'd be depressing as fuck, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we're already poking a fork around the edges with MBK doing it.
True.
So, you know, with the NA people going, it doesn't even matter if it's a big name, really, because it's like, well, your scene is fucked. But when the big European players start going, and plus the shot in the arm that gives Valorant, it hurts us twice, you know. So
I mean, Flusher might be in that mix as well. I mean, he's got to be viable for that now, right? It doesn't seem like he's getting any teams.
Yeah. I mean, that whole project. I mean, fucking hell. Like when Sonny went out events, I was like, surely we're gonna see Sonny in a team soon. He's another
obvious,
one.
yeah. Slam dunk.
Yeah, crazy. Right. There's two more, so we'll just do them.
All
Jerky's Minion. What did you think of the CLG sponsored content from Bud Light? Yeah, I remember that. Well, go on.
You know what he's referring to? The story from yesterday.
Yeah. What?
Basically, right, you're thinking of something else. Basically, CLG did a real segment that they released online, and it was in coordination with their partner, and it was sort of like a clip almost from like a reality TV series about their team, and it was just them coming in and telling their League of Legends team for real, like, by the way, I'm the GM, and this might be the last time all 5 of you play together this split. Like, just straight up told the players that, like, as like,
I thought they were just referring to the fact that they brought Bud Light in as a sponsor to make the content.
The reason why this is outrageous is because it was a sponsored segment, but it was basically the worst PR you could ever have, because it was like, I mean, no fan's gonna fuck with you walking in a room going to all the players, look, play the game and that, but just have no confidence because you might be fired. So yeah, I'm out. Like,
here's another reason why esports fans are idiots, and it's because everyone craves realness and authenticity, and then when you get it, you complain about
they hate it. Yeah. What they want is everyone to be fake. That's they don't. What they want is this. They want you to never admit that you're being fake, but to be fake.
Yeah, to be fake.
To pretend to be authentic, which is it's the maddest, like, catch-22. I know what you mean, because essentially it's what our careers are about, Richard. It's about people. They've said it a million times. They go, I like some of the things they do, but can't they just not be themselves? It's like, well, then how would I produce the same content, you dumb fuck? It's an output and input process, isn't it? Like, the reason you like this shit and wish someone else did it is because what you want is the realest shit ever, but then you don't want someone to say something about your team that you don't like, even though that's real. So you want someone to say, I've always said, basically, it's what TSM fans want in League of Legends. They want someone to do my shows, but then the only team they don't ever flame is TSM, which is like, well, no one would ever do that, though, would they? Like, the real guy wouldn't make that show. So I agree. It's why I always say, never ask fans what they want. Fans have no fucking clue what they want, mate. They're the last person who know what they want.
Yeah, and look, like I say, the bottom line is, I think if you want real content, right, this is sort of how it has to be. I don't think people, one of the reasons why everyone, especially in League of Legends, but in Overwatch and other these like formative esports, one of the reasons why you dickheads have this anime view of the world is that everyone's out there, everything's PR controlled, everything's focused on pandering to the fans. I mean, like I say, I don't blame the fact the fans are fucking garbage in esports when every company wants to just pander to you and tell you you're fucking great, and no one's got the balls to tell you, sorry fans, you're actually a big part of the fucking problem, and when people do it, you go, no, don't say that to me. It doesn't change it being fucking true. Boo me all you want, threaten to kill me all you want, it's still fucking true, and it'll be true 10 years from now, because you cunts never fucking learn. So whatever, but the reality is that all of that content being manufactured and garbage, the real stuff, this is really how teams work. This is really what it's like. A guy does come in. A guy does tell you, you are getting dropped. You got to up your game. Sometimes there's unbelievable conflict. People with like barely been out their bedrooms in their lives. Young adults with underdeveloped social skills, interacting with other young adults with underdeveloped social skills. And someone who's just marginally older than them being told you're the authority over these people and they have barely developed social skills. What do you think's gonna happen if you throw a bunch of people with underdeveloped social skills into a room and you say to one of them, you're the boss? Have you ever heard of the Stanford fucking experiment? Like, this is what goes on. And so when you see it, you go, well, I wouldn't have put that out, and why would a sponsor ever want to sponsor it? Because it should generate clicks. You should think it's exciting. You should want to watch it. And again, just learn from real sports. Do you think the UFC, right? The UFC literally used footage of one of their players throwing a dolly through a bus, blinding another fighter temporarily, scratching their retina, so they had to cancel a fight. They used that in a hype video for the next fight to sell pay-per-view tickets. And you're complaining about the real behind the scenes, dirt under the fingernails stuff. If we did more of that, you wouldn't object to it because it would be the norm. You're just a cretin. That's
This
it.
story was number
That's
one.
all
on
that's
Reddit.
at work here.
The same people. It was the ultimate pearl clutching at you. It was where they're going. This is disgusting. Oh, I can't say. Give me more. Give me more. It was like the number one story on all of Reddit.
And they all love drama, of course. But here's the thing, like, so that generates your drama, but instead of discussing the drama that's inherent in the clip, you make a drama about the clip even existing. And then 2 months down the road, when Bud Light goes, yeah, I can't believe you associated with that. We pulled out. We're not going to do it. And there's no more content like that being made in esports. You go, well, it just feels a bit fake and contrived, doesn't it? Beam me the fuck up. Right, last question. Dancer Master, he was spamming the chat. Not the best way to get a question asked, by the way, especially when you can just send it to me on fucking Discord or send it to a mod on Discord. You know, our mods are going to ban you if you spam, obviously, but it's only temporary, so don't cry, because I know you obviously are a patron. So rules will be changed for you. But yeah, you asked. I think it was off the top of my head. Do I think the major will be played? And if not, where would I play it? We sort of touched on that a little bit earlier. I'm 50-50. I think Valve must understand the critical importance of having a major at the end of this year. Even if they've got to change the dates and push it back just a little bit more. So maybe even it starts in November and ends before Christmas or whatever. Like, you know, there has to be one. There has to be one. Or we've had nothing sort of to kind of like look forward to. All the RMRs would be a farce, like, you know, and they're already a farce. Like, it's no. So I hope they do realize the importance, but equally, I also do know that it's not a meme. Valve is very Dota focused, and CS is an afterthought. And the people who love CS at that company are few and far between. So I don't really know. Hungary would be a good shout, although I don't see where you get Budapest from, which would probably be the logical choice for infrastructure reasons. I don't see where you get Budapest from, like, in a CS context, unless you want to bring up the fucking source Kodiak frag movies. But, you know, Romania for me makes sense, given that's PGL and they know all the connections and government connections and everything there. If PGL are allowed to pivot, they're going to pivot to Romania. So look, there you have it. That's the show. We got the questions done. We'll be back. I know we haven't talked about I Am Cologne. Trust me, next episode we'll do a bump special. We'll talk about everything, all the new ones, all the foibles and all. I know this is one of those serious episodes where we're all talking about the fucking destruction of the esports industry yet again. We do one of these every 5 to 10 episodes, don't we? But whatever. People need to listen to it. Nothing changes if things don't change. Me and Duncan are going to be on a podcast. So, did you see this story in the news today about seagulls? And Duncan going, oh, when do we get a bloody start doing something about the seagull menace? You know, honestly, that might be better than this. Like, we'll give it some thought. But anyway, until that dark day, thanks obviously to our sponsors, .com/RLS. Go there, they're amazing. We love them. NordVPN.com/RLS, our VPN sponsor. Go check them out, get 70% off. And obviously as well, our patrons that brought this show back from the dead, our $100 patrons, Jerky's Minion, Benakagi, Benedict, Carve, Cathal, Chris with 2 S's, Hannah Maru, Alice, J Dubs, Marcus Kiumpa, Tobias Bernasconi, Will the Weed Wrangler, and our $50 patrons Adam Ox, Alex C, Arammer, Bukowski, BP420, Bacon, Canapacito, Carter, CMAC, Dancer Master, Daniel Magnuson, Echo, Fursock, Frankie, Goody Woody, Gerhan, Kaya, that is, J-Ray, Judas, Miss Alcoholic, Nolan, Norwegian Clameye, Petty Grievances, Rekabikon Sting, Rez, Sard Sawar, Tim Frost, Lonnie, Watch Doge, Zumba, and Zarathenia. We'll see you sometime next week, maybe the same day, maybe not. Keep your eyes peeled on Twitter, and until then, take care of yourselves. Peace.